Oh, there's somebody. There you guys are. A few of you guys. You're at the gym, Ninja Monkey, yeah? Nice. At least somebody's out there training. Hey, what's up, Michael? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, I'm just kind of on my bike here, but I'm thinking my head's kind of disappearing here, so I thought maybe it'd be better to be here. Yeah. East Vancouver, nice. Hey, Jamie, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, you got to come out to Harrison, come see me. Jason's at work too. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Okay, that's my magazine crap over there. I didn't have that there on purpose. It's just like I haven't hung it up yet or anything, so I'm not trying to be a douchebag here by putting that stuff in the background, but it's like, look what I did. I'm on a magazine. Netherlands, nice. Yeah. Some people came out for a meditation retreat from the Netherlands with my wife there. Nice. Oh, you got a cottage by Nelson? Yeah, Nelson's quite a ways out. Yeah, Harrison Hot Springs is only an hour from Vancouver, really, an hour and a half, so. Yeah, Martin and Ann. Yeah, you got the flu? Yeah, I've been there. How you doing, Cameron Shaw? How are you? Or Shul, sorry. Sorry, the print's pretty small from a distance. I'm looking at the camera here, so if I say your name wrong, it's only because I'm like squinting trying to read. So how are the Gallantians doing, man? How you guys all up to, what's going on? I figured I'd just jump on here live once in a while, and I figured I'd just give me an excuse to ride the bike for a bit, and I haven't been doing much cardio lately, as much as I was going to commit to that for a bit, because I got so into training whole body workouts for a period of time there, and I was doing so many of them that I was like, screw the cardio. Too much time, right? I've been playing Fortnite, yeah. You guys have been playing Fortnite here and there. So you can add me under Natural Gallant. I'm on online here and there, so just I'm just under the PlayStation profile name Natural Gallant. So yeah, sometimes I jump on there. I actually got it because I thought getting on there might be good to promote the channel and stuff. And yeah, you never know. You're always trying to look at just making connections and meeting new people and stuff. And it's obvious that YouTube doesn't really promote you that much. So you're always trying to expand, get to know people from all walks of life and stuff. And yeah, sometimes it helps your information, your content get out there, and helps me be a professional idiot, right? So I get to joke around on the internet, so sometimes, yeah, you gotta get yourself out there. But yeah, I like playing video games too. I grew up with video games and things. Yeah. Well, Martin, I don't know if you've watched a lot of my videos, but if you do, I mean, this is shame on you, Martin. Shame on you, because if you watch my videos, you would know the answer to this question. So now I'm gonna ask you some questions. How many videos have you watched of mine? I've got 500 of them on there now. I know, it's amazing, right? 500 videos. If you do the math, it took me about 2 to 4 or 5 hours to make each video. So you can imagine how much time I put into this and investment. So if I were you, I would watch some of them. I would watch more than a couple anyway, if you haven't watched a lot already. So how many have you watched? And I want an answer from you. This is interactive, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing the live thing. I don't know anything about Doug Miller, nor do I care. And I don't talk about people whether they're fake natties or not, because how do I know and who gives a shit, honestly? All 500, you'll watch all 500. How many have you watched so far there, Martin? Okay, and there you go, Jamie. Yeah, you're on the right track there, Jamie. Yeah, Martin, I do the live thing here and there. I'm trying to do a live thing here and there, and I'll be online for about an hour there, Cameron. Yeah. So yeah, Martin, how many videos have you watched so far, Martin? See this? You think you're gonna get here, and I'm just gonna like just jump like, hey, Jason Dunce, entertain us. But no, I'm gonna make you entertain me. Hey, it's role reversal here. Oh, you watched 100? You think you watched 100 and you don't know the answer to the question? Really? That's surprising. Because you should have seen me do the Smith machine for lunges. You should have seen me do the Smith machine for chest at least once, probably. So, just so you know, if I'm doing it, that means I don't think it's shit. Just so you know, I don't do stuff that I think is shit. And that's why the videos are really important for you to watch, like the workout vlogs and stuff, because you'll see what I'm doing, and you'll know that automatically if I'm doing it, I don't think it's absolute shit, that's for sure, right? So, Smith machine is not shit. You gotta remember, a lot of the YouTubers you guys are watching are idiots. I'm gonna say it honestly. Not all of them are idiots, but a lot of them are. They've only been training for a few years, so they might be even nice people, and some of them are actually intelligent. But intelligence over time is the real experiment, and a lot of these guys make preconceived assumptions, like I used to make when I was like 18 years old and stuff, 19. I'd say, oh, this is the way training works. This is how you do it. And over time, you start to see where these experiments lead. You know, you train 10, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. I'm getting up to 30, over 30 now. The bottom line is you start to see certain things that you wouldn't see with only training about 3 or 4 years, right? Just like some guys, they can bounce off their joints all day long. And it takes about 4, 5, 10, sometimes years before they start seeing the repercussion of that. And also, sometimes they can bounce off their joints, but then they're not seeing that this is something they can do specifically because of their own joint ratios and stuff. And then they teach other people to do that, and then that person snaps themselves up and they're like, oh, well, I don't understand. Well, it's because they have a naive way of looking at training. They're not necessarily understanding that there are more variables than they understand, right? So, yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing well there, JT. What's my primary motivation? To get bigger and stronger, just as an art form. I like it. It's a game of life, right? You have to live. So that's what my motivation is to live. And yeah, CrossFit videos, this, right? I should do more CrossFit videos. I have lots of CrossFit jokes going on. The reason why I joke around with CrossFit is just because CrossFit is always combining things, and it's not always good to combine things. And sometimes CrossFit's the best thing for some people. But for other people, it'll be the most horrible thing ever if they're not built for it, right? So that's why it just opens up so much comedic sort of opportunity, because, crossing anything can be CrossFit, right? Good there, Paller. How you doing? What's going on, Russell? How you doing, David G? Yeah. So, yeah, what my primary motivation is now is to keep building a physique, being healthy, and go to bed. I'm on the bike. I'm not going to bed, Benjamin. So, to build strength, build muscle the way it was always been, and to defeat the aging process in whatever way I can, bring meditation light to the body. That's my motivation. So I use weight training as a way of doing this. Yeah, you fell downstairs once and became CrossFit. No, totally. Journey to get jacked. Would I work out if I was the only person on earth? Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. I would definitely work the body. I feel better when I work the body and get a pump and stuff. Yeah. Oh, no problem there, Brandon. I'm glad Brandon Superlong, that my videos have helped you. My videos will help anybody, because all they are is just asking you to internally search for what is your specific manifestation of how to train. It's not about saying there's only one way, but there are some general rules. They're going to apply to almost everybody. And if you learn how those rules fit into your life and your body, it'll really help you, I think. Well, I know it. I don't think. What am I saying? I actually know. Okay, here we go. I'm just trying. Boxer, can I do a tutorial on dancing? I don't know if I'm really qualified to do a tutorial on dancing. Although I could teach some things for sure. But the most important thing, boxer, is rhythm. That's the most important thing for dancing. You could do the stupidest thing ever, and it could look good if you're just like, hitting the rhythm. That's the biggest thing. And that's the thing that I learned early. That's why you see like little white guys, dancing, and it just looks like the dumbest thing ever, because the beat is here and they're like hitting something in between somehow. They're just not hitting the beat. So rhythm has everything to do with it. It's all about rhythm, right? So learn how to hit a beat, and then you could just be doing just the stupidest things, like just dumb stuff, and it actually looks all right. So that's where you start, is a simple move, like just tapping your foot or whatever in rhythm. That's where you start with dancing. Then from there you can start getting more complicated with pop and lock or different types of moves. But yeah, I don't know if I'm really qualified to teach a tutorial on the many different aspects of dancing. I mean, there's so many awesome dancers out there. If you look on YouTube, pop and lock stuff, some of these guys are unbelievable, right? Anthony Classic Physique, Mr. Can't use a frickin' phone. Anthony Classic Physique is my shitty cameraman, guys, just so you know. He's a shitty cameraman from time to time. And what he does the teenage sort of thing when he drifts into town, or he's 20 or 30 minutes away from me, he goes, hey, or in Chile. I'm like, Chile, the country? I don't know where you mean, but he meant Chilliwack. So I'm like, what the hell do you mean, man? So he laughs at me because I speak old person talk. Okay, let me just take a look at the comments here. It's hard to spin and take a look at these comments here. All right. Thanks, Journey, to be jacked. Yeah. No, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys appreciating my stuff because, like I said, I spent a lot of time in here and there's not really a lot of profit to be made at YouTube at this point, but at the same time, I know that everything pays off in time, right? At some point, I'm going to have enough of a following and save enough people's lives here that it'll pay off. Karma always comes back, right? A superset routine. Ramesh, I have workout programs on my website. So if you want workout routines specifically, I have them on my website. Yeah, I do charge for workout programs, but I have to subsidize all this time and equipment that I have into this. Like a lot of guys don't realize that I've got tens of thousands of dollars in equipment just to make this thing happen. I know it sounds stupid and everything, but just one of my cameras alone is $5,000 just to produce the content that I'm producing for you guys. So that's why I have to sell programs here and there. I have to kind of support it somehow. I have to try to find a way to be able to afford to do this because a lot of times there's wear and tear on equipment and stuff too. People don't realize they're just making videos. Like you're carting your camera around or your lens and then you're breaking a camera, you're breaking something or you're losing a battery or something goes wrong, a cord, and then you have to repair this stuff. So yeah, unfortunately that's that's the life, right? If I'm spending time doing this, I need to subsidize this somehow. So sorry about the programs costing a couple bucks, but they're worth it. They really are worth it. And they really are honestly what I did in order to get results. So it's not like some sort of scam or some sort of trendy thing. And I encourage you to try them at least. So you start with the template and then from there you can ask me questions and we kind of work things around, right? That's what the videos are about. Helping you understand that starting with template's good, but then now here's how you adjust the parameters based on your own individuality. And I'm sorry if I'm breathing kind of funny because I'm riding a bike right now, so I sound kind of creepy. Sorry, B. Sony, what do I do for elbow and wrist pain? I don't have it. That's what I do for it. So if you do have elbow and wrist pain, first of all, look at your technique. Find out if your technique is shit. Honestly, that's the first place you got to look. And a lot of guys are doing skull crushers right to the face like this instead of like this. So you're laying on your back, you're doing a skull crusher like this. That's going to screw your elbows up every time. Over bending the elbows is going to screw you up every time. Watch my video on do you have elbow pain? Okay, how to fix elbow pain. That'll help you tremendously because there's so many guys that are just hanging off the bar, like straightening their arms, and then there's some people on the internet that are saying, oh, well, I straighten my arms, it doesn't cause me any problems. I'm like, okay, well, maybe your joints are really stable in the shoulder. Maybe you don't have any slight labral tears. Maybe structurally you're built and you can handle that. But it does depend on your own individual proportions and how your insertions are working and your joint integrity. And some people have a little bit of instability in the shoulder, and now the pressure is going to be exponential on the elbow when they're hanging from the chin-up bar, right? So you have to take all this stuff into account. So yeah, you're getting elbow pain, you're getting wrist pain. That means something you're doing is not right for you, nutritionally or training-wise. So something needs to be shifted. So it's not about what is the right form, it's more about what's the right form for you. So what are you doing? And the best thing is to really get somebody that's an expert to look at what you're doing and then adjust that certain technique. Now, for somebody else, that technique might not be necessary for them, but for you, it might be, right? One aspect is the bench press. People say, why is your wrist back like this? Well, I sit the bar right on the palm, right? Even though my wrist is back. But then a lot of people that don't really understand stuff, they say, oh, you have to have your wrist straight. It's like, no, depends on where the bar is, right? So if your bar is here, now it's really going to affect you if your wrist is bent. Now you're going to cause some problems, right? But if the bar is here, it won't. So people have to use a little bit of common sense. They need to learn this stuff, right? So it takes time to kind of develop this wisdom. But yeah, getting somebody that has some experience to look at your techniques and to find out what you're doing, that will really help you out. Okay, let me see here. Michael Ferreira. Okay, so yeah, thanks, Elias. Brass is saying some nice stuff there. Some of you guys have been tremendous Gallantians, okay? So that's why I continue to make this content, because some of you guys have been just so funny and so great to deal with. Because, what else do we got to do in this life besides share a little bit of laughter, right? So in the end, I don't give a shit about anything as long as we're laughing. Who cares, right? So that's why you can see my videos are starting to go a little bit more downhill and they're getting a little bit more corny and cheesy, but I just enjoy that stuff. That stuff's just really fun. Hey Stan, how are you doing, buddy? So all I can say is if you can laugh, that means you can just say, hey, I don't have to take things seriously. And then when you're not taking things seriously, sometimes you're a little bit more open-minded to finding the truth of the matter in anyone's situation instead of saying it's got to be one way or the other, right? Guys that take shit seriously don't have much of a sense of humor, you know what I'm saying? And they're usually not that open-minded when it comes down to discovering what is the truth in anyone's situation. So yeah, that's why I don't take this channel too seriously. I take it seriously as far as I want to give you the content that I can help you with, but at the same time, I'm looking for a way of making it more entertainment as well as having fun with this whole natural bodybuilding kind of process, right? When is the AAA theatrical release of Gallantians of Galaxy? Yeah, no doubt, that would be hilarious. That would be funny. You never know what's going to happen. You never know, man. Life is a funny thing. So, Michael Ferreira, what do I do for a living besides making drug users look weak? Well, Michael, watch my video on what I do for a living. What I do for a living is this, and I sell the programs on my website and stuff like that. And then I work with my wife when it comes down to the meditation stuff and helping people with energetic healing, spiritual stuff, meditation things. Nothing too religious or anything, but just the whole enlightenment stuff. I sell a book when it comes down to that stuff too, and yeah, things like that. I sell healing MP3s, meditation tracks, meditation music on a different website. And so yeah, that's what I do. And then the odd time I've done some video editing services for other people or some video type stuff for their business or something. So I kind of branch out in that direction. But yeah, watch the video. I explain more there. Okay. So let me just see something here. Okay, thanks a lot, JT for 2000 for the donation. Thanks a lot for that. And thanks, Paz Klerbin. Thanks a lot for helping me out and donating $10 to the super chat here, guys. So, okay, so Paz is asking, thanks for going live and always providing great info. Is there a best exercise for building the wideness of the arms? The thing is, one thing, okay, there's two different ways of bicep curling. Sometimes you bring the elbows forward a little bit, and then sometimes you bicep curl and keep the elbows back. Elbows back will hit a different head than elbows forward, right? Now, when you bring the elbows forward, you're going to hit a lot more front delt as well. So a lot of guys on the internet, they're like, oh, don't bring the elbows forward, that's wrong, and all this kind of stuff. But what you will hit is a different head of the bicep. Even though the shoulders come in, there will be a different head of the biceps that hits. So I would say, don't be afraid to keep the elbows back and do curls, or do incline curls, or do barbell curls, and sometimes the elbow can come forward, or sometimes the elbow can come back. Do both, and that will help. Now, preacher curls and stuff, it will help this part, but it's going to help also the forearm. Everybody's always talking about my forearms. There's a bicep that crosses here, and preacher curls are going to help that, all right? And hammers as well. You're going to get a little bit more there. So hammer curls as well may also hit a little bit more of the outside. You may actually feel it more on the outside of the bicep with hammer curls. So that's another variation that you could use that may help with the wideness or the illusion of wideness by hitting the different heads of the bicep. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, let me get to the other super chat here. Yeah, thanks a lot, JT, for giving a super chat there. And those of you guys that are Patreon supporters, this month, April 1st, I guess tomorrow, I'll start putting a few of the other Patreon supporters on the end card of my videos as thanks. And on Patreon, I do they allow 15-second or 20-second little short clips and stuff like that. So I'll put a clip up if I'm working on my garage. Hey guys, here's what I'm doing, or here's a meal that I'm having. I put a clip up there last night of me having some moose meat and rice. So I'll do these mini clips on Patreon. So if you guys want to kind of tune in and get something extra for that, it doesn't cost much. You can donate $1 a month or $5 or whatever it is you want. And if you donate $20 or whatever, then I put you on the end card and stuff. And yeah, that all helps me continue to make content. So do you get a lot of extra stuff on Patreon? Well, not necessarily a lot of extra, but I do give you some little clips here and there. But the thing is that it helps me continue to make content all the time, right? Yeah. You can, okay, yeah, Nail, you can't hear me that well? Well, I'm talking as loud as I can. I'm on my iPhone here, so just use some earphones or turn up your thing. Maybe click on the bottom of your YouTube thing. There's a volume on YouTube itself as well as your computer, so try both of those. What's the best frequency for most of the gains? Christus TV Able, I would say check out my 2-day splits on my website. I do a lot of frequency stuff with such as 2-day split, but I also do increasing frequency as well. So I'd say every second day to every day, you know, somewhere in between there, and it'll be different for each person, usually. And if you're extreme endomorph, then I would say, yeah, maybe you got to go 3-day split. So it does depend on the person a bit, but I do find a little bit more frequency was much better for me. And a lot of people, I find it is better for them too. Okay, let me see here. Did I do any powerlifting in the past? Well, I talked about this on a channel a little while ago. I basically did powerlifting. Basically, I tried to lift as heavy as possible. And I just found that doing parallel squats was detrimental to my leg development and to my knees and my lower back. It wasn't actually helping me get any more big. It wasn't helping me get stronger. It wasn't helping me avoid injury. So it just seemed stupid at that point. So basically, I believe in gaining strength 100%, but at the same time, not at the expense of your joints. So if you're doing heavy weight all the time, but at the same time you're falling apart, how's that going to help your bodybuilding or powerlifting goals? And at the same time, powerlifting does have some strict sort of guidelines of how you're supposed to lift, right? Because it says, oh, you got to do parallel squat or something. But if you're not built for parallel squat, like say your femur is this long compared to your tibia, so you got to bend over like right in half in order to actually get to parallel. Now we know that your lower back is going to be hitting failure and taking 10 times more strain than your legs are. So is that really an efficient way to use your joints in order to gain more strength, right? It's not. You know, if you have to lick your own butt in order to actually do a squat, and then the next guy doesn't even have to, he barely has to even bend over, it's going to be a totally different type of exercise for both people, although they're both called the squat, you see? So that's why you have to basically find out what is the most efficient way to use your body to hit the areas that you want, and at the same time not to overstretch and overkill, you know, certain weak links that are already weak links. So that's why I didn't compete in powerlifting, but I was always obsessed with gaining strength for sure. Okay. Let me just go for another video here, another comment. Let me see here. Do I use protein shakes? I'm using some protein shakes right now, Stan. This is a protein shake right here. This is how I'm surviving while I talk to you guys. Yeah, I find that it's handy for me to get extra protein in, because I find if I have to get it from natural food, which would probably be ideal, I don't necessarily get enough in from time to time. Plus, it helps me keep from, curb the whole sweet tooth thing. I end up having a stevia sweetened shake instead of a chocolate bar or something, right? So. Okay, let me see here. Okay, what are my thoughts on endomorph, mesomorph, and ectomorph? What are my thoughts about their training and diet? Well, training and diet is going to change depending on the person. But yeah, if you're an ectomorph, a lot of people think that you're supposed to eat everything in sight. And the only thing I can go on with what I've seen is that ectomorphs, there's more to a human being than just whether they're ectomorph or endomorph or mesomorph. There's way more variables at work, you know. So this is just a grandiose sort of way of just putting a guy into a bracket and saying this is what he is, and that's it. So he's an ectomorph. So there could be a million different reasons why he's a skinnier dude, right? Maybe he has a digestive system problem. Maybe he has an incapacity to be able to digest the food. Maybe it's a hormonal thing, right? Maybe it's a fast twitch to slow twitch fiber thing. Maybe it's an activity thing. Maybe it's just daily activity that's causing him to burn so much calories that he looks like an ectomorph, but meanwhile he probably would be a mesomorph, right? So these are things, hey Robert, so these are the things you have to take into account. So giving somebody a general rule, and this is the thing, this is what I'm talking about, the simplicity on YouTube. People come out and they say, oh, this is the general rule, because that's what people want on Google. They want the direct answer They want the simplified answer, just like, people want the 10 Commandments. They want to know the exact answers to life, but life is much more complicated than that. So it depends on why a person is skinny, right? So, and RXL saying ecto, endo, meso, exactly, don't actually exist. It doesn't exist in the same simplified way that people think. Now, I know guys that are super ecto. This one guy that's super ecto, he used to have to eat 10,000 calories a day. But the funny thing is, a lot of people say, oh, 10,000 calories a day, right? Good, he needs to eat everything in sight. Pizza, Big Macs, it doesn't matter. But what he found was that when he ate too much saturated fats and deep fried fats and shit food, he actually lost weight. He had to make sure he ate protein and carbs all the time, like really clean food all the time. So I think it always boils down to feeding the body what it needs in order to grow, and not overfeeding it the crap, right? Because just because you're not storing body fat doesn't mean that you should be eating a ton of fat, right? It just depends on what you want to go with. I mean, whether you're on the protein and fat diet or the protein and carb diet. But the fact is that you want to make sure that you're feeding your body enough food so that it can grow. So if it's not growing, then up the food. If you're not growing, up the food. If your training is perfect, if you think your training is going perfect. But the other thing is that people underestimate that if you're not putting on muscle, but you're doing Mr. CrossFit when you go to the gym, and you're jumping on the stair climber for a half an hour, and then you're doing supersets and doing giant sets and circuit training, and you're not putting on muscle, and then you're going to a warehouse all day and pushing around boxes and lifting things. Well, guess what? You've got an activity problem. You don't have an ectomorph problem. You know what I'm saying? So it's always about, it's like a race car. You don't take a race car four-wheel driving. You don't take an Indy car off-road, four-wheel driving up on a logging road like by my house here, right? Those bumps and shit. You don't do that because you want that car to be a specialist. So when you want to be a bodybuilder, you're saying, I want the body to be a specialist. I want it to be a specialist in this area of physical fitness. I don't want it to be all over the place. If you want it to be all over the place, that's a fine goal, but you're not going to develop a bodybuilder physique from that, right? It's just like a guy in the Facebook group, super nice dude, whatever, was talking to me about, hey Dima, was talking to me about running, and he says, oh, jogging, I feel like my legs get bigger from jogging. Well, maybe if your legs were totally small before, maybe they'll get big to a certain point from jogging, but you'll never get bodybuilding legs from jogging unless you already had bodybuilding legs and you're just genetically gifted in that area. But cardio activity for 20 miles at a time is not going to build bodybuilding legs, right? So, let's see here. Yeah, you're a lobotomized sheep guy. He's saying he has a slight belly and a lot of muscle, but he never could get into counting calories and macros. I'm the same way. I never really count up macros or anything. I count up protein, that's it. I always would count protein, and then I'd add a handful of carbs and stuff, and I'd be like, okay, 1 handful's this much, 2 handfuls that much. Good. Now I know if I'm getting fatter, then I'll cut 1 handful out. That's simple. I never really got into the whole calorie thing. And the funny thing is, calories can also be looked at as an oversimplified way of measuring food, but it is one way, but it can be an oversimplified way because we know a calorie is not a calorie. Eat calories straight from a bag of sugar every day, eat calories straight from saturated fat every day, or eat calories straight from protein every day, and you're going to have a totally different physique. I guarantee you, if you eat 2,000 calories of just straight protein every day, or 2,000 calories of straight table sugar every day, your physique will look like night and day. Totally different. So how can a calorie be an accurate measurement of food? It cannot. It cannot be an accurate measurement of food. Not totally. It can only give you one slight way of looking at it, but not the whole picture, right? So that's the thing to take into account. Is eating at night have negative effects? Maybe it does, but I've been doing it my whole life, so I guess it's worked out all right. RXL, that's a great point. He's saying that meso and endo and all that stuff was developed by a psychiatrist named William Sheldon. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's a valid point. There's a lot of there's a lot of stuff that's perpetuated to simplify our understanding of human beings, right? There's a lot of rules because, let's face it, everybody wants simple answers in life, right? Nobody goes to Google and says, I want the complicated 100,000 page story about what's going on. They just say, just give me the frickin' Coles notes. I don't have time to really become an expert in this area. But if you guys are bodybuilders, if you guys are weight trainers and you're Gallantians really, you're probably saying, okay, I want to know the truth in deeper levels and understand that this discovery will continue. It's not just, I got this one rule and this is how it all works and that's it. You'll find that there'll be some general rules that will thread through your entire training from the time you're 20 to the time you're 50. There will be some general rules in there that apply, but you'll also find that some of those rules will also change because there's different situations that happen in your life at different times. Whether it's activity level, whether it's injury history, whether it's just the seasons changing, right? People underestimate how all of these things actually affect all the hormonal systems of the body and everything, right? Okay, Truong Nguyen, I can never get a good pump in the chest. Any tips? Well, the tips would be, what are you doing now? You know, that's really the question. What are you doing now for your chest? And whatever you're doing now, if it's not working, let's try something different. That's usually the thing. There's so many people that will keep on doing the same thing the same way over and over again and still saying, I can't get a chest pump. So the first obvious answer is change something up. Second of all is higher frequency training might help you establish a mind-muscle connection with that chest. So that will happen. In the beginning stages of your training though, if you're doing a lot of barbell benches and things, you probably won't feel your chest that much. It took me a little while before I started feeling my chest when I was a teenager. It took me a while. It was all delts, right? My chest just was not growing. Then when I got into dumbbells and I got stronger and stuff, I started to develop that mind-muscle connection. So sometimes this does take time. As you develop strength, you may develop more of a mind-muscle connection with the chest, especially once you start applying other movements like barbell bench and then dumbbell bench or dumbbell flies and different angles, and you start to hold the shoulders down and push like this, right? Not let the shoulders pop up and rotate around, because if you're rotating around the shoulders, that's going to be shoulders, right? But if you pop those shoulders down, stick the chest out, that's going to be a little bit more chest. And don't be afraid to change angles either. Okay. Will Earthlings ever reach planet Gallantia? I don't know, man. I don't see a lot of people there yet, but you guys are coming close. You guys are coming close. Pull-ups or lat pull-downs better for muscle gain? You know, I would say lat pull-downs because you can actually use more weight. Now, you can use weighted pull-ups, but at the same time, I would say both because they're both totally different. And as you saw in my video lately, so I hate ideas or whatever your name is. I would suggest to watch my video on the two different types of pull-up, because there's two different types. There's the pull-up where you're leaning back, which I highly recommend if your main goal is to build back. But if you're looking at building a little bit more rotator cuff and rear delt and some biceps and stuff, then come up all the way over the bar and do that. Do the whole gymnastics pull-up where you actually pull up your chin over the bar. Like I was getting made fun of for years because people are like, oh, you're leaning back. I'm like, well, yeah, but look at my back. Like, look at my back. It's not my weak point. It's not my weak point. If it was my weak point, you'd have something to say, but shut the hell up because I'm doing pull-ups for back, right? So if I'm doing pull-ups for back and I'm growing a back, what does that say? Then it means that my form must be the right form and your form is the wrong form if all you're doing is developing delts. So like I said, you gotta actually find out why are you doing an exercise, and when you know why you're doing it, then you can cater the exercise technique based on that goal, right? But I'm doing both forms now. I'm doing chin-ups above the bar too because I want to get the internal rotator a little bit, just a tiny bit of it, and I'm trying to get a little bit more bicep and rear delt in there just for fun, just for something different. But it's not because I think that's the only way to do it. That's all. So Gallantians will conquer planet Earth. I'm hoping on that. I definitely know a lot of the stuff that's happening in the world right now. If they were all Gallantians, it wouldn't be happening. You know, there wouldn't be all this crap going on with all these people in Europe right now with the women and everything. That stuff wouldn't be going on if they're all Gallantians, that's for sure. Okay, let me just see what's going on. Okay, first name, surname. What are my thoughts on intermittent fasting? I get always, every time. I don't know, first name, surname. Watch all my live calls. Watch all my live videos and you'll see that I get this question every single time, 17 times a freaking live cast, always the same question. And the fact is I don't do it. I don't do intermittent fasting because it doesn't work for me to put on muscle. Now, I think if you're excessively overweight and you want anything to discipline you to kind of reset your system or something, I think that could be a valid technique. But for an elite bodybuilding physique, I don't find that's a really valid point. And there are very few bodybuilders that I've talked to that use that technique to have an elite bodybuilding physique. So, natural bodybuilders anyway. So, do I watch MMA? Yeah, I do. I do watch MMA from time to time, yeah. No problem there, first name, surname. So I'm not trying to give you shit here. So sorry about that if it sounds like that. But yeah, watch a lot of my videos. You'll get a kick out of first name. So I'm glad you found us. We're Gallantians of the Galaxy here. This is my shirt, okay? I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? All right, cartoon shirt. Gallantians of the Galaxy. So you're part of the Gallantians of the Galaxy Natural Gallant Bodybuilding group here. So it gets a little bit crazy sometimes. My videos are sometimes not serious, and sometimes they are. So hopefully you have a sense of humor. Okay, all right. So RXL saying, how high is a too high of a rep range? One way to know is that when your breath becomes more the weak link in the exercise than the muscle burn or the muscle fatigue itself. Once your cardio starts to kick in, like you're just breathing really hard and stuff, then you definitely know you're probably getting too much in the higher rep ranges, assuming you're in shape, okay? I'm not assuming that you're totally out of shape and then you're just breathing hard after 10 reps or something. But if your breath becomes like, you're just like it starts to become cardio, then at that point you're at a too high of a rep range. But I'd say generally speaking, say you do faster reps like I do, I'd say anything over 50 reps is probably not going to give you quite the same gains under most circumstances as 50 reps and below, right? That's usually what I found. Any set that lasts over 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes is probably too long. That would be a safe bet, I would say, under most circumstances. It doesn't mean that I don't ask you to push into that once in a while. I think it's good to go into these different barriers because once again, we're all individuals and some of us have different muscle fiber ratios and some ratios will demand different types of stimulus than others. So yeah, I wouldn't say don't try it, but under general terms, I would say your sets should be about, under 1.5 minutes, a minute to 1.5 minutes is really kind of the longest sets that I do. 2 minutes is extremely long, so that would be I think that would be a good doorway for you to kind of investigate. That would be a good, doorway's not the right word. I'm trying to find the right freaking word, and that's why I don't like live casting. But anyway, I'm trying to find the right word. But the right rep range would be about, lasting about 1 minute to 1.5 minutes. Okay, Nguyen is saying, do I ever deload myself? Actually, this week I did because I was training whole body workouts. I was training whole body workouts all last week and the week before, and I actually was getting stronger. That's why you saw me do 405 for a set of 21 reps for squats. Everything was coming up pretty good. But I started to get a little bit sore, a little bit fatigued, a little bit tired, and I just needed to kind of take a break. So I took a break for a day or two, and then I trained again, and then I took a break and then trained. So deload is basically take a week off or a few days off anyway. So yeah, the odd time if I start to feel like my body's talking to me and says, okay, you're a little bit burned out, you just feel like sore and your joints are more sore than your actual muscles are and stuff, then I'll take a day off or take 2 or 3 days off and then reset, right? Eat some junk food, whatever. Take a break from needing to be the Gallantian all the time. It's a hard, these are big shoes to fill. I got to be the natural Gallantian of the universe all the time. Come on. I'm waiting for you guys. Too tired to dance. That's 100% Edge of Darkness. That's exactly it. If you're too tired to dance, you need a deload week. 100%. Yeah. I hate IDs. I have elite genetics. I would say I do have elite genetics for bodybuilding. I have also bad luck when it comes down to sports. So that's how I dislocated a shoulder and tore this one, as far as rotator cuff and stuff in hockey and things. So that kind of screwed up my training for a period of time. But I would say my genetics are not as elite as some people. And again, I can't even bring up this guy's name without people saying, oh, he's not natural, this and that. I'm like, I don't even know. I'm not even going to say he is or not because I don't know. But I'm fully open to the fact that he is natural. And I'm going to talk about Michael Hearn. He might be natural. I'm telling you, I've never seen his physique go to shit. And that's very unusual for a guy that's natural, for him to be able to maintain like this his whole life. A guy that's not natural usually will go up and down like this, like crazy. And he's stayed the same. So that bodes well in my books that he might be, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, the bottom line is there are guys that have better genetics than me, and that's why I don't automatically accuse somebody that looks better than me as being unnatural, because I know that my genetics aren't the best in the world, right? But anyway, let's on to bigger and better things. What else are we doing? Okay. Do I prefer a PayPal donation or YouTube donation? PayPal gives me more of a percentage. Yeah, YouTube takes about 35% of all the money, so they basically really, yeah, it's pretty high. So, yeah, I'd rather people become Patreon supporters or make a donation through my channel if you want. You don't have to. You don't have to. So I'm just saying this answered a question for a guy here. So I'm not trying to, you know, hey, you know, yeah, make a donation today. I'm not trying to do that, but I'm just saying if you do want to donate to this channel, I'd rather you do something that is sustainable for yourself. I don't want you guys to put yourself out or anything like that, but if you can help me out, that'd be great too. Yeah. Okay, Christos T. Vabel, you must be new here. You're saying, do I know any special way for training back, lats, or something? Watch my videos there, Christos. I have playlists down below on how to train body parts, and I have a video called The Secrets to Training Back. That would be a great video for you to watch, and I highly encourage you to watch all my vlogs because my vlogs have a massive amount of information in them. So the homeless Mexican is just saying stupid shit. So, all right. You always get one full moon asshole here, so that's good. You know, if you don't get one asshole on a live stream, then you know that means you know you just haven't made it yet. You know what I'm saying? You just haven't made it. So, all right, okay, let me just go. All right there. Okay, come on, guys, talk to me, entertain me. Come on, tell me a joke or something. Come on. Okay, how many hours a week do I train? I like how you put week, W-E-A-K. I know that's autocorrect or something. That's pretty funny. So you trying to call me weak, man? How many hours a week do I train? I train about an hour and a half a day, about 5 days a week, maybe 6 days, depending. So I'd say an hour to hour and a half a day. That's about it. So yeah, but yeah, you call me weak, man. That's all right. I got another video. Actually, I was editing a video today, and basically, it's on bulking. I'm talking about bulking, so I'm not going to answer any of the questions on bulking now because I want you to watch the video tomorrow, but it's pretty funny. So there's some funny parts in there I think you guys will like. And let me know, I want you guys to always let me know what you want to see and stuff because I don't want to bore you at all with stuff, but like I could just do videos of just driving up the logging road under real time and then showing you the different scenery and stuff like that. Like maybe you'd be interested in that. Or I'm going to do a video this summer where I live and the beach and stuff and just do GoPro footage of all the people and stuff and so you can kind of get an idea of the atmosphere that I live in. I think you'll like that. So yeah, okay, Daniel Burke's good one. A joke, all right. Why did the chicken cross the road? The other chickens were doing CrossFit. That's pretty good. Do I take pre-workout? No, I do drink coffee though, and I like BCAAs, sweetened with stevia. I'll drink those. I think I'm getting prettier. I can see it. I can see it right now. I'm getting prettier. Oh, thanks, JT. Yeah. Okay. I thought JT donated again. I'm going to give you a shout out again. See, that's how appreciative I am to you guys that donated. All right. So, okay, Robert. Okay, what do you think about training 20 minutes 3 days a week? I think you can do whatever you want. Do I think that would be enough for me? No. That would be enough for me to just be a little bit chubby pumped, I guess we could call it. I'd be chubby pumped doing 20 minutes 3 days a week. I would not, the physique you see at my end card all the time where I'm posing, that would not exist with 20 minutes 3 days a week. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, so Jason, have you ever had muscle size strength discrepancies from one side to the other? Left arm bicep inserts a little differently to my right. Yeah, okay, Robert, first of all, I'll get back to Robert here. Robert, you can get good results for a period of time, but then there'll be a point to where you won't get good results. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, when I was a beginner, I could train just doing bicep curls 3 days a week, and then I'd get results. But then there's a point to where now you have to up the effort or the volume or the intensity of some sort in order to get better results. No elite athlete on this planet, Robert, no elite athlete on this planet trains 60 minutes a week. Why is that? Right? I mean, let's use some logic here. Why is that? Not one Olympic medalist or one Olympia competitor trains 60 minutes a week. So why is that? It's because it doesn't work. It doesn't work to get you to elite level. But does it work enough to get you in shape kind of or to feel good? Yeah, for sure. And your priority doesn't have to be at elite level. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is It depends on why you're asking the question, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and it's exactly it there, Samal, is basically good results are subjective. It's about what do you consider good results? Like, if you're trying to get an elite level physique, there'll be a point to whatever you're doing to get to where you are now is enough to keep you where you are now, but it won't be enough to get you to the next level. And that's where you need to up the volume or up the intensity or up something, right? So Robert, I mean, the thing is that it's a matter of just do what you're doing and keep following through with that. But at some point you might notice that you'll hit a wall or a plateau. And then from there, you might, if you want, you might have to make the decision to say, okay, I need to up something here. You know, I need to change something or up the volume or time or whatever, right? But it is true, I will also play devil's advocate here. It is true that as a bodybuilder, you're not an endurance athlete either, right? So I'm not saying you're supposed to train 7 hours a day or the bullshit that Arnold Schwarzenegger's talking about. I train 6 hours a day, you know, that's a bunch of shit, right? Like, I don't believe that for a second. 6 hours a day, like, come on. Like, I understand that he wasn't a natural bodybuilder and he could recover from different things than, say, you know, we can. But at the same time, yeah, I don't believe 6 hours a day is really necessary either, right? Christus T. Vebel saying, what do I think about herbs? Do I have any experience with them? I think some herbs can be great, you know, but I don't have a lot of experience with them. I mean, Tribulus terrestris was and is a natural sort of luteinizing hormone, helping your body produce that. I never noticed any results that were positive for me with that or anything. But saw palmetto say is good for the prostate, all these types of things. So I think it's worthwhile investigating these different types of things to see what kind of benefit you get for the body for sure. My brother's the better expert to talk about with that. Actually, I did a funny sort of thing in the forest where he was talking about birch bark and arthritis. So yeah, you'll see that in a joke clip that I did. As Sigurd Johansson, yes. Did I train like I do now back in the day? I train exactly the same as I did back in the day now. Pretty much exactly the same. And this is why I stand behind it, because that's what got me to the elite level, and that's what's got my physique to the elite level now. You know, it's the way I'm not just creating some kind of bullshit sort of story just to trick you guys, you know what I'm saying? So I always trained like this because it worked, because when I would deviate from the way I train now, then I noticed that, oh, okay, that just doesn't work anymore. And I would have to go back to what works, you know what I'm saying? So there are subtle deviations in how I train, as far as, you know, I tore the rotator cuff here in hockey, so that may change my range of motion a little bit, or I dislocated the shoulder in hockey, so that changes the range of motion on some things. My bicep might swing a little bit more forward and back when I bicep curl, because the insertion on this one's different, because of that bicep tear I got from that chiropractor I talk about in injuries that I've had. Because he locked my arm out and yanked my arm and told me to resist at the same time. He said, don't worry, you'll be fine, even though I told him it's not going to be fine. It doesn't feel right. And I trusted him instead of my own internal intuition, which is what I'm teaching you guys to do, is trust your own intuition. Otherwise, somebody's saying, oh no, trust me, you'll be fine. And then all of a sudden you're snapping something because they're not understanding your experience in your own body. So yeah, everything I do now is exactly the way I got to the elite level. And that's why when people come to me and say, that doesn't work, I'm like, what are you, fucking retarded? Like, what's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? And I know that's not a PC word to use, but I mean it in a way that, are you slow? Are you not thinking right? And because this is exactly how I got to where I am, and this is how I got to the elite level. So I'm just showing you how I did it. And I'm not saying you have to do it my way, but I'm saying this is something to think about, because if this worked for me, maybe there are pieces of it that will also work for you, right? Dilip Ram, how you doing? From India, nice. RXL, as a beginner, should I do more compound movements and ditch isolation? I don't think you should ditch isolation. You can if you want. But yeah, I mean, obviously the compound movements give you the best bang for the buck, because you're hitting a lot of different muscle groups at once. Jackson Price, my biggest bench ever, I did 425, and I went up so easy, I'm sure I could have did 440, yeah. Now, the reason why my bench is less now is because, like I've told you guys, dislocated shoulder, and people always say, what do you talk about? My bench is different now because my groove is off and stuff, because I've got more instability. It's kind of like pushing on somebody if you're standing on ice. So, yeah, my bench would be a lot higher if this shoulder was more stable, but I'm not going to do surgery on it because I just enjoy the challenge. I don't care. I hate IDs. No, deadlifts are not necessary. You can do different ones. You can do Romanian deadlifts. You can do deadlifts on the floor. but the thing is, you have to ask yourself, okay, your buddy that's telling you the deadlift might have to bend over like this to deadlift, right? So say this is his lower back, he deadlifts like this, bends his knees, and then his, you know, his arms, the way his dimensions are built, his arms come over the, you know, the knees and stuff, and he just has to bend over like this. Now, if you see me, when I do a Romanian deadlift, I'm bent over like this. My knees are bent slightly, and the bar is nowhere near the floor, okay? Now, if I bend my legs like this, I have to still bend over like that in order to get to the floor. So I'm basically bent over almost straight over in order to get to the floor for a powerlifting deadlift. Now, you know 100% that that is really accentuating the lower back muscles more so than somebody that has to bend over like this. So somebody will say, oh, I got a 600-pound deadlift. Look how strong I am. But if one guy has to bend over like this and another guy has to bend over that, it doesn't mean this guy's stronger. It means that he has more mechanical advantage during that lift. So you have to understand your own mechanical advantage, and is it the efficient way? And if you notice that you're doing deadlifts, but you just feel like you've been in a train wreck every single time, like every single time you do a deadlift, you feel like you just were in a car accident, and your back is just such a mess. It's like you can almost feel like broken glass in there. If you're assuming your technique is right and you're keeping the back arch and everything, then I would say, you know, deadlifting from the floor is probably not the right thing for you. You're better off doing a Romanian deadlift or a rack deadlift or something that's a variation of that. So once again, it's about not overworking the joints. You're going to work the joints anyway, but what's the most efficient way and safe way to work them instead of just overstretching the shit out of them under load, right? Okay. Okay, Ishad Ahmed, if you drop the bar instead of lowering it, yeah, but you still got to lift it, Ish. You still have to lift the bar, and when you lift the bar from the floor, you're still going to tweak things if you're not in the right position. Okay, Jackson Price, what do I think about deadlift behind the back? That's the hack squat, basically, right? I think that could be okay. I've never really done it, though, to tell you the truth. My biggest squat ever, I did 6 plates aside for 6 reps. But that's 90-degree squats, low bar. Totally different squat than what people mean sometimes when they talk about squats, but that's what I did. No, is overtraining a real thing? Of course it is. It's totally a real thing. Seriously, start training tomorrow 5 hours a day, eat 1,000 calories a day, and find out what happens to you. And continue that for at least 4 or 5 months, and you'll see overtraining is a real thing. Your physique might change quite a bit at first, but at some point you'll hit a roadblock and you'll get an injury or something, right? So yeah, it is a real thing. Okay. We got a full moon idiot on here. Just 1 second here. I don't know what Angela's talking about or what the hell she's doing here. Okay. Bye-bye, Angela. Okay, so jobless Scotsman, okay. Hey, from Australia, most important thing for gaining muscle while cutting. It's tough to gain muscle while cutting. You'll be able to do it to a certain point of body fat levels. So say you're going down to 10% or 9% or whatever. You'll probably be able to gain muscle as you're getting to that level, but the leaner you get, the less chance you're gonna have of gaining muscle because your body's gonna be in such a deficit of calories and nutrients, right? So best thing is to make sure you regularly eat. Don't starve yourself for long periods of time. Don't do overly intense cardio. If your cardio is too intense, you're going to start, using that protein and the glycogen for energy, which is going to get your body to suck the muscles dry, and basically you're going to start eating your own muscle tissue. So easier activity, stable blood sugar, and enough protein. Make sure you have enough protein, high protein, in order to maintain that muscle. MMA Renegade, were you and my brother the same weight class? I was about 5 pounds heavier than my brother, and I'm a half an inch taller. So in natural bodybuilding, a lot of the classes, they would put you in different height divisions. So because they didn't want to have to tell the difference between me and Jamie, they would put us in different divisions. They would actually make us as a split of height divisions, so we'd have our own separate divisions. So he'd win his division, I'd win mine, and then we'd be in the overall together a lot of times. Yeah. I have no idea who Laurent Garnier is, or Garnier. Yeah. Okay. Where can I find my brother? On my channel once in a while, but at his clinic. He's a naturopathic doctor, so you can find him there. He's not on YouTube or anything, but. Oh, Robert Lewis is saying, do you think cardio is really necessary when you're working out with weights 4 or so days a week? It depends why you're doing the cardio. Cardio for overall fitness, cardio for fat loss, cardio for what, right? Depends what you mean by cardio, right, and why. So I've done barely any cardio most of my life, except for when I was playing hockey. I was doing tons of cardio. But when I squat something for 20 or 30 reps or 40 reps for multiple sets and stuff, I find I get a pretty good pump. My breath does get going in between sets quite a bit to recover. And do I think for overall health you need massive amounts of cardio? Then no. Yeah, thanks, Daniel. Yeah, you're a nice guy, you bastard. So you're saying I'm 27. Hey, Daniel. That's the thing. So basically, do you need cardio? You don't necessarily need cardio, but it's not bad either, right? So I can't tell you it's good or bad, right? I'm just saying that it's one of those things where it depends what your goal is, right? For gaining muscle, is it necessary? Maybe it could help. I think low intensity cardio is not a bad thing, but I find that usually I end up spending so much time weight training. I find the best way to use my energy is for that. Truong Nguyen is asking what my calories are at the moment. I don't know, actually. I don't really know. I know my protein is around 150 grams to 200 grams a day. Robert Lewis, okay. He thought lifting was better for your heart than cardio. Well, lifting will help with your stroke volume, so how hard your heart can pump, right? So you can pump more blood at once, but cardio is better for oxygenating the blood. So you can take what you want from that. So they work two different ways on the heart. But I find super high rep lunges and stuff, man, I mean, you're doing sets like that and you're only resting a minute or 2 minutes in between sets, and then you're doing high rep lunges again. It does cause the heart quite a bit of a burden. It's not just like, oh, the heart's just not involved sitting in the back seat, drinking a beer, watching the muscles do their job. So I have to say, like, doing high rep squats and high rep lunges and stuff, you're going to get a pretty good heart pump from that. Okay, let me see here. Who else is talking, man? You talking stuff here? Best way to overcome a bench plateau. I don't know, Brandon, you tell me, because I've been at a plateau for a little bit here. But honestly, Brandon, I will say creatine monohydrate is a good way to overcome a bench plateau, because creatine really does help increase your endurance and strength in the upper body muscles. So supplementation of creatine monohydrate can actually help with that quite a bit. Do more live streams. I'll gladly watch ads. No. Yeah, become a patron. No. Hey, become a patron, man. Become a patron, and they can afford to do these live streams, man. Come on, man. I'm gonna have to start bullying you guys. I'll just show up to your house. When you just shit yourself, I just showed up to your house and just asked you a bunch of questions of why you're not a patron yet. Why are you not supporting the Gallantian bodybuilding movement? Why aren't you not supporting Natural Glam? That'd be so funny. I'll show up like in a suit or something. I'll wear some sort of costume or some sort of outfit, so like the Gallantians showing up to your door. Oh no, it's one of those Gallantians again. Now they're trying to convince me to become a Gallantian. Oh, that'd be hilarious. I'm gonna have to do that. I think I'm gonna have to do that. I might do a road trip where I hit every single one of you in your own town and knock on your door and ask you to become a Gallantian. That would be pretty funny. On a serious note, though, Ish Ahmad, I heard creatine is bad for the heart in a sense it fills the heart with, no, that's a bunch of bullshit, Ish. No, that doesn't happen. It doesn't fill the heart with water. That doesn't make sense. No. Yeah, okay, thanks, yeah. If you become a patron, that'd be great, man. Thanks. I really appreciate it. One thing I will do, and I'm going to tell you my plans for the channel, okay? I'm going to still answer you guys' questions, so sorry if I've ignored anybody and I'm scrolling through here. But feel free to put your question up again, and I'll try to get to it. Is that one day I would like to have a house that's big enough that I could actually host a Patreon party. So basically everybody comes at a certain time for, a weekend or a 4-day retreat or something like that. We got all these hotels around our town, people can stay there and stuff, but they come to the house and train. And then we have a party, like just talk and just hang out and do video and whatever and train and just, talk about Gallantian stuff. I think that would be great. And then, you know, be a kind of a Patreon sort of hangout. I think that would be great. RXL, I've never used citrulline malate, but I've heard good things about it. Amen Rabba, what program do I use to make beats? Logic Pro X. So I don't just, some people think that I use like a music program where the beats are just kind of, I just draw in a beat and stuff. And in Logic, you can draw beats in and stuff like that. But actually, I play everything myself on my keyboard. I play all the instruments. I actually try to find what sound I want to put on my music and stuff like that, and what feeling I want to kind of get across. And that's how I do it. So I actually do play all my own stuff. So it's not like I just kind of like have some sort of loops and stuff. I don't do that. I actually do it myself. Plaguey Smith, I don't take drugs. I am a natural bodybuilder. It's in my channel name. Plaguey, can you read Plaguey? It's called natural. Do you know what natural is, Plaguey? Do you know what natural is? I'm gonna create a Sesame Street bodybuilding channel. Do you guys know Sesame Street? It's like, Plaguey, do you know what N is and A and T? Let's spell it out. Natural. That means drug-free. Good. Okay, good. All right. Good, Plaguey. Good. That's right. MMA Renegade. Good, Plaguey. Plaguey Smith. No, you're not, dog. Okay, when you say dog, that means you must be saying the truth, Plaguey. I'm sorry, Plaguey, but I am. So, if you want to be a prick, I'll ban you right now. Or you can actually start to get to know me a little bit and understand that you're talking bullshit. So, you can decide right now, Plaguey. Because I don't need you in my life, Plaguey, if you're going to be a negative influence and start telling me shit that's bullshit. I don't need that. If I came in your house and started making false accusations to you, you'd probably not be very happy about it either, right? So, yeah. All right. Ashley Davies, what do I think about today's fitness role models? I think I'm better than all of them. I don't know what you want me to comment about that, Ashley. What do I think? A lot of the fitness role models are not necessarily role models in my opinion. I'm not going to say, well, those specific people are not, but I would say a lot of them are just part of an industry that's a little bit sick. Some parts of the industry are good. I think fitness is good overall, but there is an underground sort of movement that is not necessarily positive. Yeah, it's true. A lot of the guys, I'm not going to say which ones because I don't know, but a lot of them are not natural. And I don't think, honestly, like, I don't have anything against people. Like, I understand some people are governed by their own insecurity, or they're trying to achieve something that's impossible natural. So they're saying, okay, they're going to do this lifestyle choice, which is not something that is going to be healthy for them, but they're going to choose that because that's the only way they can achieve that professional career of some sort. So I would say if they want to take that risk, that's fine. They can still be nice people. It doesn't mean they're bad people, but I just don't think it's the best way to live your life based on your own need or desire when it's destructive to you. It's just counterintuitive, you know? I don't think a logical person really likes that. Plaguey Smith. Plaguey, you know, I'm pretty much done with you, Plaguey. Bye, Plaguey. So sad to see you go, Plaguey. So, what's my opinion on the most effective way to train triceps? Here's the thing. The best way to train triceps, and this is funny, this is one of the things that's changed for me over the years. Bad, Plaguey, bad. That's exactly it, MMA. Bad, Plaguey, bad. Bad, Plaguey. Litter box, Plaguey, litter box. Did you remember that from Police Academy in the 80s? That story when the cat was shitting in the cornflakes? Litter box, Plaguey, litter box. That was funny. I love that part. The cat was crapping at this guy's cornflakes because he was such a slob. Oh man, it was so funny. He just flings the shit across the room and then he continues to eat the cornflakes anyway. That was great. So anyway, I don't even know what the hell I was talking about there. Sorry. Okay, tricep training. Okay, let's go back to tricep training. So tricep training, this is something that changed for me. One thing I realized that is if you have stable joints, you'll be able to actually fire the muscle around that joint much more efficiently. And how I discovered this was I dislocated the shoulder and I, got hit by this guy from behind in hockey, and I tried to hold him up, but I underestimated how much momentum was there when I was trying to hold him up. So he's a pretty big guy, and I tried to hold him up single-handedly with my arm. So yeah, playing hockey, I started to learn the rules of my own limitation, because sometimes momentum is not your friend, and sometimes it is your friend. So anyway, I actually caused this muscle or this shoulder to be a little bit more unstable. And so when I was trying to fire triceps and stuff, I noticed that I wasn't getting the same tricep development from the same exercises as I was before, because now my shoulder's a little bit more wobbly, right? So I started to recruit a rotator cuff and everything. So for me now, tricep above the head and also elbows back a little bit on a flat or on an incline seems to be the best way for me to hit my tricep overall. And also close grip bench, where I have the shoulders really plugged in, and then I just keep the elbows flared out and just the 90 degrees up and down. And it seems to be pretty good. But I'm still playing around with it, because I noticed that I get great development from rope stuff, like the cable stuff. And the reason why is because I can change the angles. I can stand close and then stand far away from the rack and then turn around and then get all these different angles all at the same time to really fatigue that tricep. So I would say right now the cable stuff is my most favorite thing, the overhead cable extensions and all that stuff. Ish, Ahmad, your sister won't squat because she thinks the legs will bulky. Yeah, the thing is, Ish, a lot of girls think that, because what happens is that when you first do weight training, your body will swell up a bit. Your legs will get some swelling in there. And when they swell up, because they're sore and you get all the blood flow in there, the pump and the recovery and inflammation and everything, the legs will swell up at first. So they only see that, and then they immediately panic and then step away from lifting, right? But what they don't understand is that over time, what will happen is that there'll be more fat burning in that area, and everything will firm up and then tighten up. And then the leg will look much more firm and small in a lot of cases. Like I had a woman that was I had a lady that was only 125 pounds squatting 225 for sets of 20 reps, 90-degree squats, but she was doing heavy weight, and she had really good, tight-looking legs. Like everybody in the gym was like, wow, her legs are awesome, and they weren't big and bulky at all. So that's the thing. So it's not going to make you big and bulky, especially women. It's not going to happen unless they're already bulky from a muscle point of view, and very few women are, right? David Adkins, do I think leg extensions are bad for the knees? I think leg extensions heavy for sure are bad for the knees. And I think it also will depend on your genetics. If you have Tom Platz's genetics for knees, if you say your knee is built a certain way in the capsule, then maybe perhaps it's okay. But under most circumstances, because the hamstring's not firing to protect the knee at the same time as the quad is firing, it's not good. It also hinders, somebody was also commenting in the video just a while ago I made, and they're saying that because of the way the knee is locked into the machine, it doesn't allow the natural rotation of the tibia. And this can also cause problems with the knee joint. So yeah, I never recommend leg extensions. Ashley Davis, does my brother still keep in shape like me? No, he doesn't. He lifts weights, but at the same time, he doesn't watch his diet the same as I do, because he's busy with his practice, and it's just not his first priority, right? So I called him Fat Squatch the other day in my video, and I haven't actually put that video up yet, but you'll see it. It's kind of funny because, he bulked up more. Like he just eats enough protein. He does eat healthy as far as vitamins and nutrients and things. He is a naturopathic doctor. He does take care of his health, and he trains, and he's strong as hell. He's still doing 315 on the bench for a set of 9. So he's not weak by any means. But he's not worried about being shredded lean or being down to 8% body fat or anything like that. That hasn't been his first priority. His first priority is just to be able to lift, be able to move, and he's not really worried about whether he's in bodybuilder shape or not, right? Yeah, Robert, my brother will be in my next video. I'm putting up tomorrow. I'll probably put it up tomorrow, and he'll be in there. Just briefly here and there. I just put him in there here and there. He's more shy than I am. I'm more like the outgoing guy. Like I showed you the end card, where I'm dancing. He's kind of standing there watching me like I'm an idiot. It's pretty much the story of our life. I've always been more the outgoing kind of person, so my personality kind of fits YouTube a little bit more than his does, but he's funny as hell. Sometimes he comes up with some really funny shit, but he's kind of like the monkey at the zoo. He likes to lob poo from a distance rather than kind of be in the line of fire, So, yeah. Okay. Jobless Scotsman, how to tell the ratio of fast to slow twitch fibers, you'll be able to tell from which type of training gives you the most muscular results, right? So if you're a guy that really seems to respond more to high rep training, like sets of 30 or 40 reps or sets that last over a minute seem to give you the best results, there's a strong possibility that you have a good slow twitch fiber content ratio in your muscles, right? Now, if power stuff seems to cause you more size and strength at a faster rate, and you need more time to recover in between workouts with the same amount of volume as, say, somebody else, then that's a good possibility that you have a higher fast twitch fiber content. Opinion on the most effective way to train the vastus medialis. Squats, basically. Squats with the toes slightly pointed outwards. But the thing is, the vastus medialis is trained at the lower portion of the movement and the very top portion. So it shouldn't be a hard muscle to get. It's just that, see, here's the thing. A lot of people are not really, and I'm just going to say this, I think that a lot of people are obsessed about micromanaging their gains. And the thing is, the medialis, like nobody's ever lost a bodybuilding show because their medialis sucked. Honestly, I've never seen it. I've never seen a guy get on stage and say, "Oh, the medialis, it's too small," right? If anything, the medialis is usually what develops first in a lot of cases. And the thing is that it's usually the sweep. It's usually the outer quad that is usually the problem. That's usually the thing that people don't have enough of. So I find a lot of times people are so worried about the medialis, but the medialis is going to develop if all you're doing is squatting or going down to 90 degrees or parallel in your squats. If you're finding that medialis doesn't develop at all and you really are focused on that, well, then go deeper. Go deeper in your squat. As long as you're keeping your back flat, then your medialis is going to develop. Like I notice guys that really deep squat a lot, the medialis becomes really the weak link. The more deep you go, for sure. But if you go too deep, then your knees are going to be a problem. So if your knees start to hurt, then screw that type of movement because your knees are going to blow out long before your medialis develops. So you have to cater your range of motion because of that. But yeah, your medialis is not going to be the weak link. I've never seen it. I've never seen a guy lose a bodybuilding show from a medialis problem. Now, that said, sometimes for rehabilitation reasons, some guys want to hit their medialis. And I would say then you might want to basically focus on movements that hit the medialis a little bit. I mean, maybe you want to go a little bit deeper, but nice and slow at the bottom and just pump little reps at the bottom or something and see if you can really hit that medialis to failure. But what I would do is I would stay down in the bottom range and just go up a few inches and down a few inches up and then really hit that medialis and hit failure with that. But do it always, like only use a range of motion that doesn't hurt your knees. That's the thing. You don't want your knees to be hurt, right? Ish Ahmad, yeah, you could do that. You could do fast twitch fiber day and slow twitch fiber day for sure. Okay, let me see here. Sam Curtis, do my hips look big to you? He's saying squats make your hips bigger. In all those bodybuilding contest videos, like if you watch my career highlights videos, does it look like my hips are big? Right? And I'm doing partial squats. I'm doing squats wrong according to the bodybuilding sort of philosophy. And my symmetry didn't get screwed up from it. So that's not true, right? I think some fat guys will try to talk about, oh, squats made my hips big. No, the donuts probably did. It's probably the pizza, or probably just your genetics. You know what I'm saying? You probably just got big hips or something, like bone structure there. But it doesn't mean that the squat caused that. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't train stomach vacuum. They're Jabba Scotsman? No. All right. Let me see. I'm going to go up here. Aleo is saying I should do a collab with somebody. Never heard of the guy. And I'll do collabs with guys that they have around a similar subscriber count as me. And if they want to. But a guy that has 100 subscribers wants to do a collaboration with me. And then basically he just wants to take all my viewers somehow. You know, like I said, this YouTube thing is funny, right? People say, hey, do a collab with this guy that has 1 million subscribers. The guy's not going to do a collab with me if he has 1 million subscribers because he has nothing to gain. So why in the hell is he just going to give me all of his viewers, you know? So that's kind of how YouTube works, and a lot of people don't really understand that, right? You always have to add value and give value. So there has to be a receiving end and a giving in every single business proposition or collaboration of any sort. And if that's not there, then what's the point, right? So, sorry, I gotta plug this phone in here. 1 second here. Time to change the view. Time to change the view. Just bear with me for a second here. You guys are taking all my power, man. You guys are taking all my power. My bench press is down tomorrow. You guys are in shit. So, right. This is Mr. Mountain himself. Yep. Is this still live? This is live, Paulo. Yes, it is. It is live. You've hit me live, man. I am live with you right now. Ish Ahmad, do I think stretching is necessary? Yeah, I think stretching is necessary. There are times where certain muscles will spasm up or tighten up or lose the proper amount of tension. Think of your body's muscles like guitar strings, and they have to be in proper tune. And if they're not in alignment and proper tune with each other, then what will happen is you will not have proper functionality. You know what I'm saying? So that's totally true. You do need to stretch, or at least lightly stretch. It doesn't mean yanking on the joints like crazy and tearing shit to pieces, but lightly stretch and get things kind of moving, right? So yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, Ishamad, 2 fingers. That's right. Yep. Okay. Okay. You know, so guys, if you guys are going to ask me about other YouTubers, I'm not going to answer you. I mean, first of all, I'm going to tell you one thing. Results should speak for themselves. So if I've accomplished more and done certain things than, say, said YouTuber, and there's like a number of them that have been mentioned today, but then you ask me what I think about the YouTuber. Why are you asking me? I need to know the motive. Like, why are you asking me? Like, why do we need to talk about somebody else if you're here with me? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like you hanging out with your girlfriend and then you're talking about some other girl. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? It's like, oh yeah, lady, girl, I love you so much. I love you so much. Oh, you know, your friend's pretty hot. You know, like, why would you do that? Why is that happening? Why is this happening? I want to know. I want to know exactly what's going on here. You know? So, because the thing is, people talk about guys that haven't, you know, this is the thing that really gets me, because there's a few of them that are, you know, a few of the guys, and I'm not talking about, you know, not even maybe the guys that you guys are watching, okay, are talking about, but there's some guys that have accomplished nothing. I mean, they're basically, their physique is not even on a level where they can compete at an amateur, you know, level in a town, let alone at a state level and win. But yet people are saying, what do you think about them? Should I take their advice? It's like, well, maybe they have some valid stuff because they're talking about what worked for them. And I'm saying everybody's got their own experience and they have some valid things. But I wouldn't go to a rocket scientist and ask him about a 3-year-old that's building a little rocket ship in his basement and say, oh, what do you think about this guy's rocket ship? It's like, no, it's like, you know, Stephen Hawking probably has enough to say about stuff that I don't need to ask him about somebody else's stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. It's sometimes it's kind of insulting because if what I've done and what I'm doing is not speaking for itself, then I'm like, okay, so what are you perceiving here? Am I like a guy that doesn't know what he's talking about? Is that what you're saying? Like, I don't know. So it's just weird. It's a weird dynamic on YouTube. I know it's kind of part of the social culture, but I don't really understand it myself because on one hand, you get people that say, Jason, you look too good. There's no way you could be natty. And then another time, the guy's saying, hey, what do you think about this guy? I think he's got something really valid to say. And he's 140 pounds soaking wet, and he's basically doesn't even have a lat spread. Like, so I don't get it, man. It's like one minute I'm too good, next minute I'm like just dog shit. So I don't really get how this YouTube thing works. So one thing you can always depend on YouTube, one thing you can depend on YouTube is that you will never get overconfident about anything because there's always somebody to kick you and then somebody to build you up. It's like, build me up, buttercup, and then break me down. So anyway, that's the thing. So this is why I don't answer stuff about other YouTubers. I may collab with some YouTubers. I think some of them do have something valid to say, and they are reinforcing a lot of the stuff that I'm saying. Some of them are reinforcing the stuff that I'm saying. So obviously, if they're reinforcing some of the stuff I'm saying based on the right range of motion for you and everything, I'm going to be all on board with what they're saying, 100%. But if they're coming across and saying, oh, this is the only way to build biceps, but their biceps are 15 inches around, you know, obviously they're talking shit because they don't know how to build biceps because they haven't built them, you know. So I'm not going to talk about how to build Rome if I haven't built Rome. And I think there's a lot of people on the internet right now that don't know how to build Rome, but they're talking about how to build Rome. And then what they're doing is they're looking at the guys that built Rome. They're looking at the Romans and saying, oh, those Romans cheated because they built Rome. So I think that's kind of the stupid thing about YouTube, right? It's the game of discrediting, because a lot of people out there think if they discredit somebody else, then it somehow makes them credible. It's like, I discredit that guy. That means I'm credible. It's like, no. I mean, your results should basically give you credit. And if you don't build the results to build you credit, well, then you're not credible, right? That's it. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not trying to beat up on you, Christus. I just think this is funny stuff to talk about. So sometimes I use these live chats to talk about certain issues that are kind of socially going on social media that I think are kind of funny. And yeah, I think I'm going to make a lot of stupid commentaries and videos on different subjects, because it's just something to talk about. But I think it really kind of brings some wisdom to why people do what they do, you know? So what's going on there? Penumbra has been like totally shooting like massive amounts of comments on my channel. I mean, I've had so many questions from Penumbra. He should be like banned from this live chat. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Pen. I'm just kidding. I'm not. I won't ban you. I'm just kidding with you. I actually appreciate all your comments, man. It's really been great having you on there. Okay, so MMA Renegade. I'm a loser. I should go. Are you talking to me there, MMA Renegade? I didn't. Okay, let me see here. Okay, let me see here. Okay, so somebody's asking me for a shout out for a donation, but they're not willing to give the donation first. Okay, that's not very good. That's kind of stupid. I gotta remove you, man. Bye. You know, there's something called etiquette, you know? And, okay. All right. Sorry, guys. I'm just basically doing some cleanup here. All right, good. Okay. You're a loser's idiot there, so he's gone. And how's my boyfriend? I'll ask my wife. Yeah, that'll really go over well. Okay, so yeah, no problem, MMA. Thanks, man. Yeah, so sorry about that, guys. I hate doing this, but I have to clean this stuff up because. So Bane's World, of course, I had muscular imbalances. I have some muscular imbalances now, based on. That's one of the reasons why competing is kind of a little bit of an issue for me, where I'm thinking, maybe I won't compete because, but maybe I will anyway, just to see what happens, because I have that bicep tear. And you watch injuries I've had. This was all stuff outside the gym, and the dislocating shoulder. So sometimes when I pose, it's not quite as symmetrical as it used to be because of some of the history that I've had outside the gym. But yeah, this happens, right? It's totally normal. Okay, so Bane's World, how did I get through that mentally? Well, I have another channel called Jason J. Gallant, and that's my other website called jasongallant.ca. I use Sanskrit mantra, meditation, breathing techniques. There was a time where I totally had to de-identify as a physical bodybuilder. So, Jobless Scotsman, how long is the stream for? I'll go for a little bit longer, maybe a half hour, 40 minutes, we'll see. Let's see how long my energy lasts here. But basically, I had to give up my identification as a bodybuilder because I was so identified. Because the only thing I was ever good at in my life was martial arts, like karate. I was really good as a kid. I was a karate instructor by the time I was 20. And I was really good at lifting weights. And I was elite as far as I had the good genetics. Like, it was the one thing that I was good at, right? Everything else I was shit at. I was not good at anything else. And I wasn't the best looking guy. I wasn't the best, funniest guy or anything like that. Like, there are lots of things, you know? I think every human being has their pluses and minuses, you know? And basically through training, I was carving out an identity for myself. But I remember when I was around 30 and I competed and won lots of shows and stuff, and I was like, I'd give it all up tomorrow just to be happy, because I just wasn't happy. I just felt like there was just something missing, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's when I started learning how to meditate. I started investigating my own internal self. So I started learning internal bodybuilding, you could say. And that's how this whole meditation teacher thing came to be. And I wrote a book called Awakening with Atma, and, dealt with depression at that time. I was like, what the hell, who am I? All this existential stuff that all athletes go through when they're like, okay, when I'm not an athlete, who am I, right? And then I started to realize that everything's an experience, and you become master of your own experience within. And then by doing that, then weight training becomes a fun game, and now it's not an obsession. It's not like, oh my God, my bicep has to be the right size, otherwise I'm shit, or my experience is horrible. it's really not that important. It's kind of like driving a car, like, or having a pair of pants. If you didn't have the right pair of pants one day, like say your pants weren't perfect, you wouldn't obsess about it. You wouldn't go crazy about it. But people do this with their own physical bodies, and your own physical body is not who you are, right? So Nagu in here is getting bored with this kind of stuff because it's too deep, right? See, this shit's too deep for a bodybuilding channel. So you guys get bored and then take off, see? Yeah. So basically what you have to do is you have to realize that you're not the body and that there's an experience within you that is there regardless of whether you have biceps or not. I mean, whether you're fat, whether you're old, whether you're young, that experience is there. And you have to realize that that is the most important thing to anchor into, not the emotions or the suffering that moves through you and the mental noise that says you should be this or should be that. Once you let go of all these things, then happiness emerges, and sometimes it can be goofy like mine, and then you do a lot of fun things, and then from there you're not really having this obsessive tendency. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, see, Trung Nguyen, you can't go, right? Once I get all deep on you, you can't just leave me like that. See how conditional this shit is? See how conditional this relationship is with you guys? If I don't look good, that's it, you're gone. If my biceps are a little smaller, you're gone. I start talking about meditation, I'm gone. When I'm joking, making funny faces, yeah, you're here all day. But as soon as I start talking deep shit, you're gone. Anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, I love all the guys here, all you guys, thanks for being here. It's great, Yeah. Well, Pen Umbra, you've been skinny your whole life. But remember, your body, one day you're going to be sitting there. It's just like a toy. Like, okay, let's talk about this. Okay, let's talk about some deep stuff just for a bit. Don't worry, I'm going to answer you guys other questions. But let's talk about some deep stuff too, because this is really important. Because some people think that if their goals are made out of suffering and insecurity, that somehow they're going to get better and they're going to get to their goals faster. But usually what happens is if you're driven by suffering and pain, what happens is you're going to run out of energy because you're wasting a lot of energy. You're wasting energy on suffering and obsessing. Like, how many times have you wasted a whole night's sleep just on obsessing of something? So this will siphon off your physical energy. And then when you go to train, you're not going to have the same energy for it, right? And then at the same time, if you are creating a destiny based on suffering, that destiny is going to be filled with suffering. So the same insecurity you have now, even when you have bigger biceps, bigger muscles, then you're still going to be the same insecure. You're still going to have the same experience of insecurity. You're just going to start measuring yourself to a bigger stick. You know what I'm saying? You're going to look at somebody else and you'll be like, oh, that guy's bigger than me. Okay, I should be insecure. So even though you look better than, like, say, 80% of the people in bodybuilding, you're going to look at the one guy that looks better than you and then obsess about that. So it never ends. Do you understand? So if it never ends, then you need to say, oh, I can actually stop this game right now. And then from there, guess what? You'll still gain muscle, but now at least you'll appreciate it when you do, or you'll be happy about yourself, right? So everything has to start with happiness. Everything has to start with fulfillment. So I think that you need to understand who you are first, and you can still train, but when you start feeling obsessive tendencies or insecurity or feelings that are not comfortable, practice being with those feelings and not reacting to them and not taking action because you're like, oh my God, I'm obsessed. And then, taking action based on that, right? Just, it's a practice. So that's where meditation and stuff can come in. So, all right, sorry. I hope I didn't bore too many of you guys with that kind of conversation, but yeah, this channel has a part of this stuff there. So I gotta kind of bring that in, right? Okay. Daniel Burks, you're gone? Are you gone now, man? Okay, Daniel. See ya. Good night. Yeah, Paulo Amedo being a big no. It's funny. Okay, Paul Drake, try a month or two. Okay, I'm just going through you guys' comments here. Okay. Pen Umdra, I meditated consistently for 3 months. Okay, so good. 3 months is good, but I'm going to tell you right now, Pen Umdra, yo bra, okay? Meditating for 3 months is kind of like somebody saying to me, hey Jason, I lifted weights for 3 months. Why don't I look like Mr. Olympia? Okay? There have been sages and people that have meditated for 40 years and still said they don't know the truth, but they're closer to it. But if you just did 3 months, that's a start. It's a start, but it's not. It's a little bit of a longer journey than that, okay? So just so you know, there's a lot more that you haven't discovered in that realm. If insecurity is still dominating you, there's more to discover for you, okay? So, Yes, the effect is subtle, and it does help to work with a person that's a master of it, just so you know. Okay, so that's the other thing. All right, Dr. Doombrain. I like that name. That's pretty cool. Good thing I'm not Spider-Man. Hey, Dr. Doom, huh? Okay. All right. Let me see here. I'm going to go up here. So many people want fast results and tend to get skewed perception of what's attainable naturally. What would you say is a realistic time frame to expect reasonable gains with good diet and training? I'd say it's reasonable to expect some gains within 2 to 3 months, depending on your age. Like, say you're a younger person, you know, in your teenage years or early 20s or something. But at the same time, it depends what you mean by good gains. Like, a lot of people are thinking they're going to look like a Hollywood action star, and basically they're going to be, you know, have 20-inch arms or something like that because they're training for 6 months or something. No, this is an overnight success in 10 to 15 years. That's what it is. And if you're not willing to put 10 or 15 years into anything, you don't even start. Honestly, don't even start if you think that you're going to suffer somehow if you don't reach a goal within, you know, a few months. It's a 10-year program. You'll get about 70 to 80% of your gains in the first 10 years of your training. And then from there, you're still gonna gain. You're still gonna evolve. There's still gonna be things you learn about yourself and things to do, right? And that's with everything. Like, I used to be a fiction writer. I wrote a book called The Dragon King, okay? And that's on Kindle right now. You can actually get it on Kindle. If you look up The King of Dragons on Kindle, I had to change the name around, but The King of Dragons on Kindle on Amazon, you can find it. It's only $3, but if you want to buy that book, it's on there. And I wrote that book. That was the second book I ever wrote. It's a fiction book. And then I wrote a bunch of novels after that, because I wanted to be a writer at some point in my life. And basically, when I was listening to all these famous writers and stuff, they said, you know, it's overnight success. I reached overnight success. These big writers, right? And I'm like, overnight success? What was overnight success? And they'd say 10 years and about 10 million words of writing, right? You know, so here's the thing. You always see the result, and then people see the result and they're like, oh, I want that result right away. But they don't realize it's 10 years of dedication towards a cause. And you have to be in love with that in order to be able to sustain that. I mean, what kind of relationship can you keep if you're not in love with the person you're in a relationship with, right? You're not going to stay in a relationship. Well, hopefully you don't, you know, for 10 years if you just absolutely hate the person or the thing that you're in a relationship with. So learn to love your training. Learn to love the process of listening to your body and feeling the pump and everything. Learn to love that, and then that will take you to all of your goals and attainment. That's what will do it. Insecurity won't do it. Because then every time you go to the gym, you're just going to feel like shit about what you don't have. And at some point, that negativity is going to overcome you and you're just going to quit because you're like, ah, screw this. It feels like crap all the time when I go, right? Who would I say is the best natural bodybuilder I've ever seen? That's a hard one. I mean, honestly, there's a few guys that I was really impressed with. There was... my brother was great. I mean, and Dominic Darbo, there was this guy that used to compete out here. He was really impressive. He was one of the really impressive size mongers that I competed against. I beat him. I'll do another video. I'll do a few videos of career highlights that I haven't put out with pictures and stuff, but I beat him at the 1998 Western Canadian Natural Bodybuilding Show, but only because I was a bit leaner than him, not because my physique was better. It's just that I was leaner than him at that show. The year before, he beat me in the overall. But he had unbelievable. He's this black guy, and he was like 5'8" or 5'7", but this really nice lats and beautiful sweep to his quads. He had a beautiful physique. So, yeah, he's one of the best natural bodybuilders I've ever seen. Now, there's a lot of great natural bodybuilders that were in the WNBF at the World Naturals and also at the Natural Universe, but I didn't follow them along. But the best bodybuilder that I haven't seen in person would be Kai Green. Kai Green was a natural bodybuilder. A lot of guys don't realize this. He was a natural bodybuilder, and he used to win the Natural Universe in the WNBF every year for a long time. And then what happened is he then decided to go the other route, of course, through the IFBB, and then, of course, he's not natural anymore, probably, most likely, of course, not, you know. So anyway, he went that route. But that's why he went right to the top of the ranks, because he was already the top natural bodybuilder, and then he made the decision to go the other route. Okay, will I film a video with him? Well, I'm not in touch with him, Krista, so I don't really know what he's up to now, or I don't even know where he is or anything about him now. So I don't even know if he trains anymore. Most likely he does, though. Okay, let me just go up here. Thanks, David Atkins. Nice. Okay, so Toucan Choose talk about meditation. Meditation is bloody hard, but it's because you think meditation is something other than what it really is there, Toucan Chew. Meditation isn't about not thinking. It's about realizing that you're the one that's not thinking. But thoughts can still move around in your mind, right? Because you're not the thoughts, right? So realize that. That's the truth. And just accepting what is. I don't believe in a religion, just so you know. So anybody that talks about religion, I don't believe in it because there's always the positive side of religion, then there's the negative side of religion. But in the end, we're all the same spark. And if the teachings of your religion don't lead to that, it's going to lead to some other bullshit. So, yeah, I'm not against things, but let's just say that there's a lot of misinterpretations in the world that have to do with you being something other than what you are. And yeah, meditation is just the embracing of this. It's just the embracing of this. So it's really the ultimate practicality. That's really all it is, right? Jobless Scotsman, yes, I have. I have had transcendental experiences while meditating. I wrote about it in a book called Awakening with Atma. That's on my other website, jasongallant.ca, if you want to look at it. Christus, yes, it will. The live stream will be up for a period of time, yeah. Baines World, I will be live again at some point, yeah. Hey, Jim Dano, how you doing, buddy? Thanks, Penumbra. Yeah, all right, buddy. Have a great night. Good luck in your test. Okay. Okay, no questions there that I'm seeing here. Okay, good. Here I am. All right. All right, man. What else is going on? A lot of gyms aren't open, but the nice thing about Murph's gym in Chilliwack that I go to is that it's a key card system gym, so I can just go in there anytime. There's no staff there. I just can go in there whenever I want. Yeah. Sam Curtis, I talked about leg extensions in the beginning of this live stream, but yeah, they're not good for the knees, I don't think. Ish Ahmad, your ab question. Well, abs are fine. I mean, the thing is that I don't train abs though. I just rely on tricep press downs and squats and the compound movements and suck the core in, and that works my abs quite a bit. Thoughts on dips versus bench press? I think it depends on how you're built. Dips are okay. I think dips are good. I don't like them as much for myself. I find I get so much delt activation with dip. I do get some pec minor, of course, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily. It feels a little bit weird. Let's put it that way. So I don't necessarily do dips too often. Brandon, what's my opinion on drugs and stuff? You should already know this, Brandon. Have you watched any of my videos? Yes, Paulo. Yeah, that's my website, jasongallant.ca. Yeah, my other website. Christos T. variable, do I also give advice on enhanced athletes? I think all my advice would actually apply to them as well. It's just that they have this other variable going on that I wouldn't be able to give them advice on. So, yeah, that's the thing. But on training, I would be able to give advice to anybody, really. Or most people, I think. Jack K, knee pain due to squats. I've been doing something wrong. You might be, Jack, unless you also have a previous injury or something. There might be something you're doing wrong with your squat, or you might be going too deep, or you might be actually trying to engage the knees too much, like bring the knees too far over the toes instead of bringing the hips back to squat like you're sitting. No, I don't, Jackson, yeah, I don't do Jefferson deadlifts, yeah. Warren Scott, dumbbell flies apparently aren't good for us. Is this true? I think if you do them too heavy, they're not. I think you can get away with doing flies, and I think flies are fine. But if you go too deep in flies, they can be devastating. So you want to watch out how you do flies for sure. Yeah, no problem there, Sam. Yeah, no problem. Okay, I'm going to drink a protein shake here. Favorite bodybuilder of all time, not personally, but physically wise, Arnold Schwarzenegger was great. I mean, his physique looked unbelievable, especially his upper body. His upper body was very picturesque in a certain way, you know. In the Conan films and stuff, it just unreal. The biceps, the shape, everything he had was great. But yeah, I would say personally, if you saw my video about meeting him, I didn't really like him that much. But that's the way it is with a lot of A personality types, right? The people that are just achievement type people, actors in Hollywood. When I spent time down in LA and stuff, I wasn't really impressed with a lot of the people I met because these people are very goal oriented. And when you are a goal oriented person, a lot of times that doesn't really facilitate a great personality for relationships. Because a relationship isn't a goal. A relationship is about just being with a person and having a good conversation, just interacting and connecting, you know. But a lot of times people in Hollywood or in LA or in these places where, you know, there's a lot of hustle and bustle, whether it's a big city or something, they're too busy playing the survival game and trying to be the alpha or be the A personality or to achieve the next biggest thing. So at that time, then people aren't people anymore. They're just numbers. It's just like kind of a YouTube channel. Like you're just a subscriber. You're just a person just, you know, watching my stuff, but there's no personal connection. So that's the way it is with a lot of these movie stars and stuff. They're not necessarily interested in the relationship. They're just interested in building a fan for a moment so they have somebody else to go watch their movie. And yeah, so yeah, on the personal route, the really neat guy that I met that was a bodybuilder who seems crazy to a lot of people out there, but I think he's actually very sane in a lot of ways, was David Paul, one of the Barbarian twins. Now, those of you guys that are a little older, you might remember the movie The Barbarians, which is a movie that came out in the early 80s about these two bodybuilders, and these guys were twins, and the guys could reverse bench like over 500 pounds or something like that. And this guy was pretty cool because he was a photographer in LA, and he had some interesting conversations to say, and he was a neat dude. But yeah, there was a lot of guys down in LA that I was just, it felt like a lonely place, but I mean, I was an outsider when I was down there. It wasn't like I was, you know, I mean, I trained with Michael Hearn a couple times, and I hung out, and I talked to Tito Raymond and Danny Hester, and, you know, there's a lot of guys I talked to, and some of them were nice people, but at the same time, like I said, it was a different paradigm. It was more about people were trying to attain something, you know, become stars and stuff. You know? So Jackson Price asked me, would I ever compete in powerlifting? And it's like, no, I would never compete in powerlifting. There's no way in the hell I would ever compete in powerlifting. I honestly think Jackson Price, honestly, and I'm not trying to be insulting to powerlifting itself, but there's a guy that I know that lives close to me right now that runs his own personal training thing. And he's a smart guy, very left brain oriented, very smart guy, got all the computer systems down with all his training clients and everything. He's got the perfect percentages in their programs and all this stuff, and he competes in powerlifting. And he knows what he's doing. But he tried to pull a certain amount of weight a while ago, deadlifting, and tore his bicep right off the bone. Because 1 rep max type training is just the stupidest training ever. It just is not conducive for longevity. Any powerlifter will tell you this. No strongman will say, oh yeah, no, I'll be able to do 1 rep maxes forever for the rest of my life. Like, it's not one of those things that allows you to have a lot of give, right? It's like a race car, 200 miles an hour, and just, you know, 1 degree off in the steering, and that's it, you're into the wall, right? It's the same thing. When you start lifting weights for 1 rep maxes all the time, it's got a certain amount of risk with it. And I mean, we tweak ourselves as bodybuilders just by doing high reps and lower amounts of weight. But once you start increasing the weight and doing lots of, you know, maxes and trying to PR and push past barriers and stuff, yeah, that risk of injury goes up way more, right? So yeah, and Jackson Price, 1 rep maxes are not fine depending on the exercise. There's no fucking way you can convince me of that. Seriously, Jackson. I mean, there's certain people that can do it because they got good tendons and stuff, but they are not fine. I've been doing this 30-something years, and I've seen guys tear their pecs off. I've seen lots of shit go on, and I've seen guys tweak and herniate discs. You see guys in deadlift videos, they're deadlifting, and they're trying to do a 1 rep max, and their back's rounding, and then bang, one day just something snaps, and there's no warning. So there's no way in the world a 1 rep max is safer than a 10 rep max. You can't. There's no way you can even defend that. Logically, it doesn't even make sense. So I'm going to say that right now. Now, if you're doing a 1 rep max of 70% of what you can lift, that's different. That's not a 1 rep max. But I'm saying a 1 rep max where you're pushing the boundary of 100% of what you can lift, and you're pushing always to go heavier and stronger, no, it's always injury. That's when guys injure themselves. It's always during the 1 rep max. It's very rarely in the 20 rep max. Very rarely. It's usually in the 1 rep max. Sprinters tear hamstrings off the bone. And when they tear hamstrings off the bone, when they're sprinting at 100% capacity, they don't tear the hamstring when they're just jogging the 400 meter. They tear it when they're sprinting. 40 meters or 100 meter dash, fast as they can. That's when the hamstring will pull. So that's just the way it is, man. So yeah, I mean, people try to delude themselves and say, oh yeah, no, Jason, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true. They try to do that because I understand the mentality. We all want to be superheroes, we all want to be immortal, we all want to believe that there's no limitations of the physical body and nothing will ever happen to us because I like this and this is what I'm going to, but I'm telling you, everything will be fine until one day it's not, and there are certain factors that are higher risks than others. That's it. It's just a fact. Now, some people will have a higher tolerance to 1 rep maxes. That's true. Some people will be able to get away with a 1 rep max more often than others. They have thicker tendons, just like I think it was the Cro-Magnon man. The Cro-Magnon man supposedly had tendons and ligaments and tendon insertions like that were as thick as fingers. That's how thick their ligaments were. So they never tore muscles, right? But unfortunately, the modern man doesn't have tendons like that, and we have a tendency to tear them a little bit easier. So, yeah. The body does have its limits. I mean, I hate to tell it to you. Like I showed you, when I showed you the cliff up at Harrison on the logging road there, you know, try jumping over that puppy. Try doing your 1 rep max on landing on the ground safely from that and see what happens. There is a limitation, you know what I'm saying? So it's all a matter of strategy. And if you push the limits too much, then your body will show you what will happen. There will be repercussion. That's it, you know? And I think that's the razor's edge that we're always balancing on is where is the place where we can push ourselves, but now where's the place where we push ourselves too much and kind of going back and forth, because you want to go beyond your limitation, but you want to try to push the body to adapt safely. But if you're doing 1 rep maxes, like I said, this guy that tore his muscle off the bone, I have a high amount of respect for him. He knows what he's doing. It's not like he was an idiot. He knows what he's doing when it comes to powerlifting. He's been powerlifting for over 10, 15 years. He knows what he's doing. He's got an over 600-pound deadlift. He's got over 600-pound squat. He's not a pussy. He's not a wimp. And he tore it right off. Right off. Like not even partially. Not even partially. And he's a natural guy. So, like I said, it just depends on the situation. And I've tweaked myself lots of times in my life, so I've learned what the limitations are too. I had to push through, and people tell me certain things. I'm like, yeah, whatever, you don't know what you're talking about. And then, of course, then I tweak something, and I'm like, okay, I guess you maybe know what you're talking about. So... but yeah, I mean, it's going to be different for each individual. So if you're not getting injured, well, I get that, but I guarantee you, if you push into 1 rep maxes all the time, you will get injured at some point. It will happen. It's a part of training, and 1 rep maxes do not allow for forgiveness. There's no forgiveness in a 1 rep max, right? You just lose your balance one day, or you're just a little bit off, or you sleep wrong and your back is just a little bit out of place, and then you go to squat heavy, and then the back's not aligned, and you say, no, screw it, I'll go for a 1 rep max anyway, then bang, herniated disc. This shit happens, and it happens to very experienced professionals. So yeah, that's my 2 cents, man. Yeah, Dan Warren, sometimes you can tear biceps off the bone and stuff. Like I partially tore mine, but the big thing that'll happen when you tear up muscle is sometimes it's strain, sometimes it's a weird jarring motion, or something drops real quick and you have the muscles there and then they're not expecting it, and then there's a sudden kind of rip, But a lot of times people don't realize that there's maybe you have an unstable shoulder, right? So maybe you have a slap tear in here or a labral tear. And because the shoulder's unstable, the biceps actually stabilize the shoulder at the same time as lifting with the arm. And because of that, it's doing 2 jobs, then it becomes more susceptible to injury. So sometimes tears happen because there's already a pre-existing instability, and then that causes more stress on a different area. So these are things that also happen in human beings, and not your fault, it just happens, right? So Oh, nice, Dan. Oh, you saw me live in Nanaimo? Nice. Nice. You saw me guest posing out there one time, yeah? Actually, Toucan Chew, no, I haven't had my blood work done as far as to see where my testosterone is or not. I'm guessing it's probably pretty low. I don't know. Biggity back, see Birdie. Nice, buddy. How you doing? Jackson Price, what about Eric Bugenhagen? I don't know who that guy is, Jackson. So he's probably some powerlifter. You're probably saying that always does 1 rep maxes and is fine. You know, and here's the thing, Jackson. Okay, we know that smoking causes cancer, right? We know smoking causes cancer. So because we know smoking causes cancer, does that mean everybody gets cancer that smokes? No, not everybody. There's 10% of the population that actually are not affected. And this is like a scientific fact. There's a certain percentage of the population that are not affected by any sort of toxins. They seem to just survive just fine. Somehow they make it to 100 years old, doesn't matter what they do. But that doesn't mean that smoking isn't causing cancer in most people, right? So if you somehow have indestructible joints, and that's your own personal sort of experience, that doesn't mean that the risk of injury doesn't go up with heavier weight as opposed to lighter weight. Lighter weight's just easier. That's the point. It's less intense. That's why they call it intensity, right? But when you up the intensity, that's when injuries happen. So if you are one of those people that's impervious to a sports injury, period, then I would say, yeah, okay, fine. No problem with 1 rep maxes. But there are very few people on this planet that are impervious to sports injuries. You look at all these strong linebackers and stuff, you know, they're basically getting injured all the time because they're hitting their 1 rep max. They're smashing into a guy, and sometimes they succeed and tackle the guy, and they still tear their hamstring. That's a 1 rep max. That's it. You know, power meets momentum. It can happen. That's it. So, yeah, I'm not saying it's going to happen to you. I'm just saying just be careful and be aware. And if you feel a little bit off one day, maybe that's not the day for you to do your 1 rep max. You know what I'm saying? There's a strong possibility that you have a different ligament and tendon sort of integrity than most people. That's very possible. I would recommend you not become a personal trainer though, because if you're going to train people, you might have a lack of compassion for the weakness of other people's ligaments and tendons. Because I've seen some guys like that where they're just indestructible. They're lifting four plates for bent over rows, so 400 pounds, no problem, and shoulder pressing. You know, they're doing 10 plates for squats aside. And no problem. And then what happens is they go to train somebody and the person's just in a crumpled heap by the time they're done with them because they're trying to apply the same principles that work for them, right? So again, it's all about the law of individuality. That's the first and foremost thing. So blessings to you in your training. If you're one of those indestructible guys, I wish I was, but I'm not. And I discovered it the hard way. And I discovered it with a lot of other people around me, my dad included. I'm second generation. I'm not just the first generation guy that's trained on weights. And I also had a twin brother, and we both did the same thing in the gym. We both did different things in the gym, and we compared results and stuff. And my dad was the king of strain. He could, like I said, deadlift over 600 pounds at 155-pound body weight, 160-pound body weight. So he was not a weak man, but yeah, he would tell you right away, yeah, 1 reps, doing 1 rep max, yeah, guys injured all the time. Guys tearing biceps off the bone, breaking the humerus bone right off sometimes. Like there's some devastating injuries that happen with 1 rep maxes. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how to really say it any other way. Yeah. Sometimes it's not fully hydrated. It could be lots of things, you know. Yeah. Okay. Jim Danoff, my test levels were low. What would I try to do to increase it naturally? Nothing. Just make sure I didn't have any sort of imbalances with my minerals or something, but I'd be like, fuck it, just accept life, right? One day I'm going in a box and all the rest of you are going in the box too, and I find that this lack of acceptance of it is really a problem, you know? So, you know, I think we all like to delude ourselves and think we're going to be immortal, but the fact is that we're not. We're not going to be immortal. So you can just try the best you can along the way and make sure you're not nutritionally deficient. Make sure you have the right nutrition in your diet. You're not toxifying yourself somehow. I think that's a good idea. But would I be obsessing about, oh my God, my testosterone's not perfect? It's like, it's not supposed to be. I'm not trying to procreate at this age anyway. Like, how many guys do you know really aspire to have a lot of children when they're 60 or 50 or 40? You know, it's kind of one of those things where testosterone was, I'm sure it has a certain procreation purpose in a human being. And it's really going to be higher for certain stages of life for certain reasons based on, you know, life and the propitiation of life, you know. But it's not the only dictating factor in gaining muscle and recovery. It's not. And I think it's, again, an oversimplified understanding of how muscles are gained, right? Sometimes your body has wisdom. Sometimes your body lowers testosterone or different hormones because it knows that having a higher raised amount might cause other problems in the body, right? So I trust in the body's wisdom, assuming I don't have any mineral deficiencies or toxins or anything like that that might be going in the body, you know, because there's heavy metals in the water and all this kind of stuff, pesticides and stuff. Assuming that I take care of those things, if my testosterone is naturally just low, I would just meditate, maybe chant a Mars mantra, the Mars mantra. I know it sounds weird, but the Mars mantra actually has to do with assisting with willpower and testosterone production in the human body. And I may release this information on here at some point, you know, mantra practices, Sanskrit mantra practices for that. But otherwise, yeah, just accept it, man. Just accept it and just trust that life has its own cycles. Sometimes there's rutting season, you know, the deer and antelope are chasing each other to have sex, and then there's the inward season where you're not necessarily doing that. So sometimes these hormonal changes happen in stages, right? Yeah. Callum Morius, you're nervous about losing your gains after 30 or something. I'm like over 40, and I've got my gains. So why are you nervous about losing your gains at 30? 30 is like, you're fine at 30. I wouldn't worry about 30. I mean, geez, start worrying when you're 70 or something. So, yeah, you're just obsessing, man. You're just obsessing. You don't need to worry about that stuff. Okay. Hello from Kuala Lumpur. Nice. As a 46-year-old who has just started bodybuilding, your channel has been great help. What is the best workout advice you can give to older folks? Keep up the good work. Learn how to listen to your body there, Koji, and learn how to push it and learn how not to push it. You know, it's kind of like having sex, I guess. It's like you got to respond to the body as things are happening instead of just push. You know, through things that you shouldn't, right? So you learn the difference between good pain and bad pain. You learn the difference between how the body needs to function, what position it should be in when you're lifting. So yeah, there's not really one piece of advice I could give you. There's just a lot of different pieces of advice, which I've done in these videos. That's why I have over 500 of them now. So I highly recommend you watch all of them and see which pieces of information apply to you. But the fact is that there's a lack of awareness in the world today. You know, and let's just look at this. Let's look at the world right now. Okay, I'm just gonna wake up here. I'm just gonna try to wake up here. It's pretty late. So anyway, there's lots of things that are going on in the world today, and we can see that some people are clinging to idealism and ideas here, even though those ideas are practically not working at all in life. Like you look at their life, it's a disaster. You know, you look at some people that are heavily engrossed in certain religious beliefs. But those religious beliefs are hell-bent on hating and opposing human beings or women or whatever, and they're doing destructive shit. Like everywhere they go, it's like nothing but death, mayhem, and suffering. So when you realize that this is the sickness that is in all human beings, and it applies to fitness as well. Sometimes people say, oh, I've got to be this, I've got to be this vision, but then they're not paying attention to what's in front of them and just taking baby steps towards a goal instead of imposing this reality of pushing themselves too hard. Then you realize that, oh my God, like my mind can actually work against me in this case. So if you treat your physical fitness path like a meditation path, where you are just embracing the reality of what's going on and saying, okay, this is what I need to do, and this is what's happening. Okay, I do this exercise, this is what I feel. Okay, so what happens to my body the next day? Do I feel sore in the joints? Do I feel sore in the muscles? Where is the soreness? Is it a good soreness? Is it a bad soreness? Did I do too much of a range of motion or too little of a range of motion? Did I use too much weight or not? You know, this is really the journey of the bodybuilding path. It's really a spiritual path. It's about you really embracing what's here and learning how to communicate and have this relationship with here. And as you develop this relationship and deepen it, you'll gain wisdom, body wisdom, and you'll learn what's right for your body in any one moment when it pertains to exercise, right? So yeah, it's about relationship first, not about idealism. Idealism is what's killing the world right now. Idealism about people should be this, people should be that, people, you know, we got guys that are like all full of shame and then they're worried about their woman showing her shoulder in public, right? And then they're saying, oh, it's my religion. It's like, listen, it's like you got a lot of shame involved and you got a lot of jealousy and you're all tied up in that, and that's your fucking problem. It isn't the shoulder. It's that you don't know how to deal with the emotions that come up when you see certain things. So, you know, saying I'm not trying to kind of be racy here, or I'm not trying to be controversial, but what I'm trying to say is that when you understand that being here in relationship and responding to what's actually happening instead of having an idealism. That's what's going to bring you wisdom, right? A Ghost XOP. Yeah, I'm pretty strong. I used to be stronger before I had some hockey injuries and stuff there, Ghost, but thanks, man. Funk a fan. Okay, nice name. That's kind of Funk A for fan. Okay. Funka for fan? All right, I don't know how to say that name. What do you say to people who say they want to become fit continuously but then quit every time they catch a cold? Well, then I say they just don't want it enough, right? Hey, Jackson, just so you know, Jackson, I'm not thinking that you're trying to start a beef with me. I actually like you, Jackson. I recognize your name. I know you're on here all the time. I'm just saying to you that you might have a genetic sort of freaky sort of advantage over a lot of people. And that's it. And I applaud you for that, and I hope it continues, and I think it probably will. I honor your own wisdom when it comes down to your own body and what's going on with it. So Jackson, don't worry. You and I are fine. I don't have any problem. I celebrate people that are better than me in lots of different ways. And I'm happy for you. I don't think that I don't want you to be my way just because it fits my own sort of paradigm of what I've learned. So trust me, we're brothers, man. Don't worry, we're good. Yeah. Okay. My Patrice, 1993. Is it normal that my back gets better results with 5 reps or lower, and the rest is 15 and higher? It's actually normal for different body parts to respond to different rep ranges, and it might be different for each person. That is normal. I think that is pretty normal. And I've done videos on rep ranges. I have a playlist down below on all rep ranges, reps and sets it's called. And basically I talk about this, where certain muscle groups you'll find will respond to different rep ranges than others. Some will respond more to fast twitch type stuff, and some will respond more to endurance type stuff. Okay, Ego, I have a video, reach your genetic potential within 2 years, a video on that. And it, spoiler alert, you don't reach your potential within 2 years. But what I'm saying is, in the video, there was a person that made a comment that if you're training properly, you should actually reach your genetic potential within 2 years, it was a stupid comment. So I think it is under Stupid Comments Saturday. But anyway, watch that video. I think you'll get a lot from that. But I'm saying it's around 10 years. Another spoiler alert. In around 10 years, you should reach about 80%, I think, of your genetic potential. Jobless Scotsman, what ones are more fast twitch based? What muscles are more fast twitch based? Hamstring for sure, 100% hamstring. Pec, 100%. I would say lats is a good possibility that they're more fast twitch based, but mostly I would say because lats, you can kind of make an argument for a little bit of slow twitch in there too, because back is more like pulling long time, you're pulling at things for long periods of time. I would say chest and hamstrings are probably the 2 most fast twitch based muscle groups. So. Shane and Niazi, do you like static contraction type training? I encourage you to watch my workout vlogs. I've got 500 videos on this channel, Shiazi, so hopefully you'll stick around, or Shian, sorry. Let me just go in here. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull the comments up. It's fighting with me here. So yeah, Cheyenne, Niazi. So basically I have lots of videos on how I train, so you'll see. You'll notice that I don't do a lot of that concentric type and just isometric type stuff. I find it doesn't really do much for me. It is a more endurance type training technique, so it will hit endurance fibers, but not power fibers. So power fibers are going to be how you get most of your muscle gains, because fast twitch fibers are thicker and stronger. So they're going to actually give you a higher percentage of muscular gains at a faster rate than slow twitch fibers. But if you're more slow twitch fiber dominant, then sometimes those static gains might give you some results. And then at the same time, sometimes those static contractions might help you get a mind-muscle connection. So I'm not saying it's bad. I don't do a lot of it though. I never really found it necessary for me. But if I do find that I'm having trouble establishing mind-muscle connection with something, then I would try that. Then I think it would be a good idea. I just got to ban a guy here. Just 1 second here. Okay. Thanks, Baines World. Baines World's my cop on here now. All right, I'm getting cold now, guys. Okay, so I'm almost done. I've been on here 2 hours, so it's basically an hour longer than I thought I was going to be on here. An hour and 5 minutes longer. So, no, Bane, it's good, man. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. I always appreciate, you know, guys, when guys beat up on me on the internet, I always appreciate it when you come to my defense. I really do, because sometimes it's really hard for me to constantly defending myself all the time. It's rough. It's rough. The troll life is rough on YouTube, I'm telling you. Yeah. Calais, have I prepared the diesel soaked fiberboards? No, I'm not going to do that diesel thing, but thanks for the advice, because I can just imagine my Battlestar Gallantic going up in flames, me having those boards in the back of my truck. But I do have camphor, and I'm going to use camphor, because I'm going to use camphor next time, and that'll be fine, because it's like got this nice minty smell, but it burns for a period of time, so that I'll do that. That'll work better, and I think that'll be really good. What would I say to somebody who is obsessed with physical appearance? I would say learn how to meditate and overcome their insecurity. Yeah, I love, yeah, people in Sweden. How is Sweden right now? Tell me about Sweden there, Funka fan. Huh? Funka Forfin? Hey? Tell me about Sweden. How's your life over there right now? What's going on? There's lots of changes going on in Europe right now. My Patrice, or Mr. Patrice, I do like working out at home and the gym, but the gym more than at home. But the gym at home is just convenient, right? So I did a workout here tonight. Have I ever been to Portland, Oregon? Yeah, a number of times. Yeah, I've been there a few times, actually. Yeah, I've been to Portland a few times. Okay, I'll see what I hear about Sweden here. Sweden is cold. Yes, I know Sweden's cold there, Kelly. Is it Cal? Is it Cal Morius? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Kung Fu Kickboxer. Hey, Jason, do you get back pain if you leg press too deeply? No, but leg pressing too deeply, if your bum comes off and rounds up, you will herniate a disc in your back and you will kill your back. You will hurt your back 100%. So don't let your ass come off, don't let your butt come off the pad, and don't let it round, like your pelvis round, and don't let your lower back round. If it rounds, you're gonna have some trouble. You're gonna have some trouble 100%, so do not do that. So don't come down too deep, come down 90 degrees at the knee, put your feet on the pad so where it feels right, but never let your bum come off the pad. That's a really good rule of thumb. Because there have been guys that have herniated their disc on a leg press doing that. Hey, Tai Chi boy, how you doing, buddy? Tai Chi Toby. Yeah, Sweden, I don't know, people from Sweden and stuff, I don't know, I like a lot of European people, man. I mean, I don't know, my wife is originally from Europe. She grew up in Berlin and Italy and stuff, and yeah, I really like the common sense approach to life that a lot of people in Europe have, so I know that's a generalization. I mean, I think there's jerks everywhere, but just generally, I really do like the Swedish people, and yeah, there's a lot of nice people in Europe. Yeah. You're from Italy? Nice. I was in Italy in 2015. I was in Assisi, I was in Florence, and I was in Pesaro. I was in a bunch of areas. It was beautiful. I loved it. That's why I'm actually, if you see, I'm using, in my last few videos, I'm using some clips from Italy. So I've got a few clips of Italy and stuff that I'm trying to put into my videos from time to time, so you'll actually see some of that there. Okay, you guys still on here? Yeah. You're from Portugal. You have a lot of fans? I'm from Portugal. I'm from Portugal. You have a lot of fans. Nice. Well, I didn't know I had any fans in Portugal, but thanks. Yeah, Australia is supposed to be really nice too. Can you guys still see me? Let me know, because it seems like it's kind of, I'm frozen on the screen right now. Don't know why. Why am I frozen on the screen? Okay, sorry about that, guys. So we're talking still. You're still hearing me. But yeah, I just saw my screen is freezing. See, I am so tough, and I have such endurance and such strength that I can wear down my cell phone so that it is dying right in front of me. The glare is so extreme that my phone can't even keep up with me. Pretty crazy, eh? Yeah, no problem there, Bad Games. BA Games or from the UK. Yeah, I noticed I have a lot of people from the UK and Europe. A lot of good people from Europe and stuff. I'm really liking that. So yeah, I got a lot of couches to crash on if I ever get a plane over there, I think. Okay, Jobless Scotsman. Do I think joints heal after injuries or they're always slightly worse than before an injury? I think it depends on the nature of the injury. It really does. If the injury is extreme, like a labral tear, like I had with my shoulder, like where I actually tore the shoulder, tore the labrum itself, then you need surgery to repair that. And because what will happen is sometimes you'll keep tweaking the injury until it's actually, it just always gets irritated. Let's put it that way. But if you have a slight pull, then it will heal just fine. I think it will heal fine. It'll be fine. And somebody's saying, have I ever been to Rome? No, I've never been to Rome because we didn't go to the south of Italy. We stayed more in Assisi, Pesaro, Florence, and what was the other one? Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot the name. See, it must be really late. That's what, Bologna, sorry. So we were in Bologna. So we went to all those different areas. So that was really nice. Warren Scott, do I like the classic physique at the Olympia? Yeah, no, classic physique looks great. I love the classic physique. It's really great. Yeah. Okay, cool. The screen is frozen. That's nice. Okay, classic physique is so much better than bubble gut open toucan shoes saying. But they keep raising the weight limits. I wish they'd stop. Need to clear the separation when they open. Yeah. Thoughts on Nether Beast, Nether chest shrugs? I have no idea who they are. But I don't know. I don't do any chest shrugs, just so you know. So if that's what you're asking, I don't do that. Watch my videos, watch my vlogs, and you'll see what I do. Cool, man. I'm really pretty in that screenshot. That frozen shot there. That's like. Oh yeah, that's a nice shot right there. That's the neat part. You can take any clip from any video and just freeze frame it, and you can make somebody look like an idiot. That's great. Yeah, yeah. Bane's World. Do you watch my other videos? You better watch my other videos too. You just better not watch just my live streams. That's bullshit. If you just watch my live streams, that's crap. Michael Shaw, watch my video. He's asking how important is the squeeze at peak contraction. Watch my video on the squeeze or the stretch. I did a video on squeeze or the stretch. You'll love that video. Just check it out. Just look in the microphone or the magnifying glass down below and put the squeeze or the stretch and you'll see a video where I talk about that. But the squeeze stuff, I don't really do a lot of. Although, like I said, to establish mind-muscle connection, maybe it is necessary for some people at some times, and I have done that for certain muscles. But honestly, I don't do it that often. Okay. Okay. Tai Chi Boy saying, would be very interested to hear about your bodybuilding training after you won trophies and during hockey years. Yeah, okay. My training during hockey years, what would happen is I would still weight train, but my weight training would be down to more 3 or 4 days a week because I'd be playing hockey 3 or 4 days a week. And so I would be doing lower volume. That's what I find, because otherwise if I did too much volume, I'd be sore, and then I'd go play hockey, and then my muscles would be all dumb and fatigued, and I wouldn't be able to play at an elite level. So I found that if I was going to do squats the day before, I would do 3 sets or something of a decent weight for squats, and then I'd feel better at the rink. But what I would do is sometimes I'd push and do a little bit more volume, but then I'd go skate the next day. And if my speed went down, or if I noticed that I couldn't keep up, or if I was dragging my ass on the ice, or if I was too tired, then what I would do is that I would do less sets. So I try to find out what the perfect amount of volume was so that I could perform better at the hockey rink. So that's why bodybuilding gains kind of took a back seat. So I also didn't train a lot of arms the day before any sort of hockey game or the day of, because then that would mess up the hand and the hand-eye coordination and the stick handling, because it was such a feel type thing playing hockey. So I'd have to cut that back. But yeah, I just basically had to lessen the volume from weight training because I was burning so many calories and doing so much volume through skating. And because skating is such a leg dominant anaerobic type activity, I didn't need to do a lot of leg training to maintain any sort of leg mass. I just did enough leg training to make sure that I could skate and be in shape. So it was like I was fighting the burn, right? So my muscles were not burning all the time when I was out there skating. You know? Yeah, Toucan Chew, try to promote my book on this channel, eh? Hey, come on, man. Try to promote my book. I wrote a book called Awakening with an Attima. Tai Chi, boy, have I ever tried Tai Chi? I've done a lot of Qigong. Qigong is good, So yeah, Toucan Chew, you're in shit now. You're in the Gallantian shit. I wrote a book called Awakening with an Attima. You guys can buy that. I'm promoting other guys on my channel. Come on. Jeez, man, come on. High or low sodium? I don't find low sodium is a good idea. You need sodium, so yeah, you don't want to be cutting sodium down. Okay, INT64 Shrandy. I don't know what that is, or 64ish Randy. Okay, INT64ish Randy. Maybe that's your name. I don't know. When bulking, do you think your calorie surplus should scale with how many days per week you train? How much volume do you do? I don't really count calories there, Randy. But one thing I can say is that when you're bulking, if you start putting on an excessive amount of body fat, that means you're bulking too much. It means you're putting in too many calories from carbs and fats. So you need to choose to kind of back off on that a little bit. But I'm making a video tomorrow, it's going up, on bulking. So you're going to like to watch that video. I think you'll get something out of it. Baines World, oh, your uncle told you to watch. Nice. Well, it's good to see somebody's got some wisdom in this world, eh? Should we ignore advice from YouTubers that aren't natural, or do they still have something to offer to the natural lifter? I would say some of them have something okay to offer, but at the same time, I've seen guys that don't know shit about training that weren't natural that grew anyway. Like, that's the thing people don't understand. It's like when somebody starts being unnatural in the gym, totally different rules apply to training and to gaining muscle. Any idiot can gain muscle if they're not natural. That's what I've seen. If they have, normal genetics or whatever. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to become elite. It doesn't mean they're going to become elite. That's for sure. Okay. Because to become elite, then you do need to know how to train. I mean, so if a guy's an elite lifter and then he decided to not be natural, well, he still learned how to train somehow. But the difference is with a natural bodybuilder is that you have to stimulate your own hormonal system through your diet and through your exercise. And then from there, tweak your training in your diet in order to gain muscle with that. But I've seen guys that are not natural just lift 15-pound dumbbells and grow biceps and shoulders and everything and get a big pump and stuff. All they got to do is pump the blood around, and they've already got this sort of hormonal surplus going on, and they don't even need to know how to train in order to get that hormone production to happen, you see? So it's a totally different paradigm. So you're not really going to learn a lot from an unnatural guy. If you're a natural guy, you're not going to learn much from an unnatural guy. That's the bottom line. Not when it comes down to becoming elite, that's for sure. Unless, of course, they spent years as a natural guy and gained most of their base as a natural guy. That's the caveat to that, right? Jose Duran, thoughts on marijuana and training? I say it has no place in training. Marijuana has no place in bodybuilding training. And if you're doing it, it's just purely because you don't know how to meditate yet. So, yeah, okay. Thoughts on mixing internal meditation, Qigong, and external. Okay, deep stuff. I can go into that for a little while. And Funka for a fan. Yes, some people say you burn a lot of extra energy recovering from leg day. I would say that's true. I don't know how much, but you do definitely burn more calories for sure. So Ego he's at 20% body fat now, been lifting for years. What's a safe rate for losing weight monthly to maintain muscle mass, being in calorie deficit for a year? What's a safe rate for losing weight monthly? I would say losing about a pound a week is about right. And that's really safe. So I think you'd be fine over a period of a year, But of course, as you get leaner, then you won't be losing a pound anymore, right? As you get leaner, but. Okay, cool. Okay. All right, man. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it now because I've been on here for over 2 hours now. So I've got to basically go, man. I'm going to be doing another one of these live streams at some point. Thanks to the couple of you guys that donated on here. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Andrew. Train the muscles, not the joints, buddy. How you doing? Sorry this thing froze up on me, but I think that was just a sign that now I've got to the ends of my thing. So I think it's good for me to kind of say bye and let you know that I will be uploading something tomorrow. And thanks a lot for any of you guys that become Patreon supporters. It does help this channel tremendously, so it helps me be able to continue to do these live streams and things for you guys and give out the free information that I do. Thanks a lot for being so positive here, guys. And thanks for being nice and everything. And yeah, I love it, man. The positivity is great. So I will answer some more questions there, Tai Chi Boy, next time. You know, so I didn't want to start a too deep conversation at the end here. So, all right. So see you guys. See you, Kung Fu Kickboxer, Penumbra. See all of you. And I will see you on the internet. And I promise I will be just as cheesy as I usually am. And I'll see you soon. Okay. Have a happy Easter, guys. Take care.